Wondery Plus subscribers can listen to Crime and Sports early and ad-free right now. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts.
In the depths of an Atlanta forest, a clash between activists and authorities ends in tragedy. I'm Matthew Scher, and on my new podcast, We Came to the Forest, we expose the hidden truths behind a shootout that left one activist dead and countless lives forever changed. Binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest ad-free on Wondery Plus.
Hello and welcome to Crime and Sports.
Yay!
Oh, yay indeed, Jimmie. Yay indeed. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I am Jimmie Whisman.
Thank you, folks, again for joining us once again on a crazy adventure that we like to call Crime and Sports. Yeah. And there's been just so many wild episodes lately, and today is no different. Today's one that we've been promising probably for 2 years now, and we're going to deliver on it today.
Good.
It's a huge pain in the ass to put together, and it's hilarious and insane and just a big pile of weirdness.
Good.
This is one of those ones where you definitely don't have to like sports to be into this, because the story is just very little actually on the field here. Good. It's a whole lot off the field. A lot of craziness. Before we get to our insane story this week, just quickly, I got to do some house cleaning. Thank you, folks, for your iTunes reviews. Number one, Apple Podcast, the purple icon, whatever the hell that is. Thank you for your reviews on there. They really help drive us up the charts. I don't know why they do that. It's iTunes and their funky algorithm. It's not us. So if you have not done it yet, please give us 5 stars. Doesn't matter what you say. Say you're following instructions, following directions. It doesn't matter. Just helps drive us up the charts. It's good for business. And we would appreciate that a ton. You can head over to shutupandgivememurder.com where you can get all of your small town murder and, of course, crime and sports needs met there. You can have, we have criminal athletes that'll come to your house and jerk you off. No, we don't have that. But we do have shirts and stuff and mugs and shower curtains. The next best thing to that, as a matter of fact. So check that out, all sorts of stuff. And very soon we are going to be announcing the slate of live shows for Small Town Murder. So if you're interested in that, check out there, shutupandgivememurder.com. If you want to be one of our spectacular, heroic, I say heroic, and I don't think we're underselling it.
No.
Our heroic producers who we talk about at the end of the show, you can do that extremely easily by going to patreon.com/crime and sports, or you can go over to PayPal, use our email address, which is crimeinsports@gmail.com. So either one of those, thank you guys. We have a list at the end, and goddamn it, everything you do for us is insanely appreciated. Oh, yeah. And you know what, man? Let's dive.
Great.
Let's dive in. Let's get in quick this week because it's a lot. Yeah. It's a lot to unpack, and we don't want to be here all night. So let's do this with Todd Marinovich.
Oh,
you know Todd Marinovich, don't you?
I know who he is. I just don't know.
I know you're not hanging out with him, but
I'm aware of him.
You're aware. Everyone. It's hard not to be aware of him if you just, I don't know, looked at the news or something for the last 30 years or so, because this guy's been kind of in the news, not for good things mostly, for the last 30 years.
Jesus.
So it's really been, this is one of the weirdest stories. This is kind of like an Art Schlichter kind of, mixed with a couple other guys. It's a weird kind of Ryan Leaf, Art Schlichter together with the dad thing with Schlichter.
That sounds scummy as fuck.
It's super weird, and he's just we play idiot or asshole, and the guy's such an idiot, he's an asshole. You're like, stop being an asshole, you idiot. It's one of those things. It's all self-destructive. He doesn't hurt anybody else, really, but he's just a dummy. So let's talk about him. Todd Marvin Marinovich. He was originally Marvin Scott, which is his father's name, so he was a junior.
Oh, he hated it.
He was born and named a junior, and then his mother changed him.
Oh, okay.
His mother changed it to Todd Marvin.
But by then it's too late.
But this was when he was still like a baby. It was within the first couple of weeks. But he's cursed. You cursed him. At one point, a legal document had the word junior on it. You're done.
It's over.
He was fucked right there, from birth.
This is the proof right here that you can't stop it. It's coming.
Is it nature or nurture, or is it what you named him at birth and they don't even know about it? Doesn't matter. It's still there. The nurture and nature of a name.
You can't stop it. It
Ridiculous.
happens.
Well, he's born on the 4th of July.
No kidding.
4th of July, 1969.
Oh.
So July 4th, 69, he is born. Now, before we talk anything about him, we have to talk about his father, because everything is tied into his dad here.
Of course.
Everything. And
it all comes back.
If you know anything about the Marinovich story, he, as we'll find out, just a brief overview, he was raised as basically a pawn. Basically, they took a lump of child mold, just a lump of child clay, and they said, well, we'll make a football player out of that, whether they like it or not. Right. So it's a really, really weird story but that to the extreme.
Did his dad have aspirations of football stuff too?
Not just aspirations. We'll talk about his dad. His dad's Marv Marinovich. He's born in 1939. He went to USC, where he played both ways on the early 60s USC football team, a lineman on defense and offense for a national championship team.
God.
So he's a kind of a USC hero. Yeah. He was voted most inspirational player in their championship year.
I would fucking say so.
He's a psychopath on the field. This guy's a monster, just a drooling, crazy person.
He's never off the field unless it's a special teams play.
That's the thing. And
it's crazy.
He's all effort, and he's all conditioning. He's later on, he'll be a strength and conditioning coach. Okay. And even here, he ends up, he's drafted by the Los Angeles Rams in the 12th round of the 1962 draft.
Got it.
So he's drafted into the NFL. He's also drafted by the Oakland Raiders of the AFL in the 28th round of the 62 draft. He doesn't actually play in a pro game until 1965.
What happened?
Injuries. He's so injured he works out so hard, which is back then too. They didn't working out. Weight training was still seen as kind of like I don't know. Not all the guys did it. It was one of those things. Like maybe you're offensive linemen, but they still were like, oh, I'm not going to be able to be quick anymore. Right. But like you'd never see a running back in the weight room. Like, good God, I'm going to lose all my speed and quickness at all back then. So it was that's kind of early 60s is when it started.
Got it.
Because especially the Rams are famous for giving everybody steroids in 1961, 62, right around this time. Okay. So I'm assuming
maybe he could have used them.
I'm assuming he was in that, especially if he was into strength and conditioning. And back then they were just like, here's something that'll make you stronger. Right. Fuck yeah, they jam it right in their arms. They didn't know what the hell they were doing. So I feel like that's a possibility, but he ended up just really blowing himself out, hurting himself, working out too hard. He ends up playing at the age of 26 in 1965. He plays one game for Oakland.
Really?
Plays in one game for Oakland. So that's it. That's his whole pro career.
Ouch.
One game.
And this is before Lil Junior's born.
Oh, well, yeah, this is 4 years before Todd was born.
So then he
played
has
in
the
that
baby,
game.
and he's like, he's going to do what I couldn't.
Yeah, well, right away he becomes kind of a strength and conditioning kind of almost a little guru around to these teams. Different teams hire him because he's got, back then it was, like I said, it wasn't really, strength training wasn't the same, but working out wasn't the same. So if you had like a plan that actually had some stuff behind it that looked like it could work, people would be like, oh my God, he's a genius.
Sure.
So it was one of those deals here. He ends up working for the Raiders, Marv does, as a strength and conditioning coach among a bunch of other teams too. He kind of travels around. His mom, her name is Trudy. She held several swimming records in high school in the butterfly.
Really?
So she's an athlete also, which you see a lot in these athletes, mother and father being athletes. She's a Delta Gamma sorority sister at USC. Yeah. So yeah, this is Southern California, big man on the football team, and
dirty girl,
dirty sorority girl here. And she quit college after her sophomore year to marry, I believe somebody else we'll talk about. But ended up with Marv.
What a sorority girl.
Yeah, well, that's how it works there. Trudy's father was the chief of police in Huntington Park in California. He was the redhead. That's where Todd got this. Todd Marinovich has carrot top level red hair. Yeah. I mean, it's a serious issue. It's not
ginger.
It's not a little red. Right. It's fucking insane. It's so red. And he's 6'4". Yeah. So I mean, being a tall guy, I know I'm 6'4", so you stand out anyway. Yeah. And if you have bright red hair, you're like, holy shit. You're walking through an airport, you just see a bright red head coming at you from a big carrot top Q-tip coming from the end of the terminal there. It's scary. So that's the perpetrator of the red hair on poor Todd. So so Trudy was a student at USC, and her brother Craig Fertig was the quarterback for USC, which is interesting. So that's how she got to know.
Meets everybody.
That's how she meets him. Yeah, Craig was pretty good here. He died in 2008 though, so screw him. Poor Craig's dead.
But the O lineman was banging his quarterback's fucking sister.
Right.
That's crazy.
Right. Hey, well, let's get your sister. If you want anybody, you got to trust your offensive lineman. That's who you trust the most. So if you're going to let anybody go out with your sister, it's going to be the guy who trusts your who blocks your blind side. It's like, hey, I turn my back to huge guys that want to kill me, and I trust this guy to keep him away from me. So fuck
Maybe
it.
he'll do it for my sister too.
Shit, if I can't trust him doing that, then what can I try? I trust him with my sister more than that. You know, that's her
incredible.
problem.
At least it's not the.
This is my spine we're talking about from the other side.
It's not like UC Berkeley's quarterbacks banging your sister.
Yeah,
it's better this way.
It's better this way.
Much
exactly.
This way.
Trudy met Marv at a rugby tournament. He was the captain of the football team and all that. Apparently, there was kind of love at first sight. His family owned a big cattle ranch. It's not a farm; it's a ranch with cattle. 3,000-acre cattle ranch in Northern California. That's a big one. Yeah. Marv is an intense guy. Yeah. Intense is not I don't even know if that covers it. It's seriously intense. He was thrown out of a bowl game for fighting.
Really?
He's that intense. He got himself that jacked up that he couldn't control himself enough to stay in a bowl game, which is kind of important.
To both sides of the ball. Yeah. And this is the biggest game of the year, and you'll get thrown out for fighting.
You get thrown out for fighting. Working out, he worked out with such zealotry that he hurt himself and couldn't play anymore. Like
bad man.
He's that kind of dude. But he's very obsessive. But he's very into the strength and conditioning. While he is hired as the Raiders strength and conditioning coach, that's when Trudy Trudy becomes pregnant with Todd.
Got it.
I don't think Marv carried it. I don't think they passed it back and forth.
They didn't flip a coin.
You getting it today? Okay, good. I'll get it tomorrow. Good deal. So he says that Marv said that he thought everybody was training wrong and eating wrong and all this. He saw all these mistakes being made. So he said now he had an opportunity with Todd, who turns out to be Todd with his baby, to start from scratch and do everything right.
Start anew.
So he monitored everything that Trudy drank and ate during her pregnancy.
Yeah.
It all had to be perfectly healthy. Obvious stuff that this is in the late 60s, but no smoking, no drinking, no salt, no sugar, which people do now generally anyway, and it's considered whatever. But in the 60s, everybody still smoked and drank when they were pregnant. It wasn't a big deal.
This is some red flags in the 60s.
Yeah. Well, that's weird.
Bizarre.
She won't have a cigarette?
What
Come on.
Granola fuck.
I mean, you must be nervous from being pregnant. How are you going to relax without a drink and a smoke? I don't understand. I don't get it.
What if you lose that?
Well, I mean, you got to worry about that.
Don't you think about that every day? Why don't you have a drink?
Ridiculous, man. Come on. There, let me pour you a shot. Let's get shit-faced. Let's go.
You could fall down at any minute and lose that baby. Have a drink.
The kid's not going to come out fun. That's going to be the problem. It's not going to be fun at all unless you really tie one on once in a while. So Marv, once Todd was born, he would stretch Todd's hamstrings when he was a month old.
Wow.
Like they do, conditioning coaches do. He was doing this from the time he was a month old.
Pressing his leg up to his shoulder.
Stretching him out, do all of that. At a month old, he had him teething on, or not a month after that, had him teething on frozen kidney.
What?
Protein, I guess.
How do you... Gross.
Yeah.
Not like in a bag, just like sucking on it?
Sucking on it. Yeah.
What kind of kidney? Like dog kidney?
I assume a cow kidney, because you can buy those in the grocery store. Yeah, I don't know if you give them a hunk or you give them like a whole, it's like a football-sized thing. Here you go. Chew on that for a while. That doesn't seem sanitary also. I feel like that needs to be cooked to a certain temperature. I don't know.
You're not supposed to put meat in a kid's mouth. You know what I mean? Like, you don't give them chicken. You don't give them beef.
Well, not raw.
Yeah, any of it.
Well...
Until later.
Yeah. No, he's teething. He doesn't even have teeth. He's just gnawing on it, trying to get the protein out, which sounds disgusting. Had him trying to lift medicine balls from before he could walk. He had him throwing with both hands, had him kicking with both feet, was training him doing like light weightlifting and pull-ups and sit-ups and, push-ups and all that sort of thing.
Making him amphibious.
Yeah, he's going to be amphibious. On his 4th birthday, Todd ran 4 miles down the beach. In 32 minutes.
Wow.
Which is an 8-minute mile, which isn't bad for an adult.
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty good. For a 4-year-old.
Super impressive for a 4-year-old.
That's pretty fucking impressive.
They're taking half the step as me.
That's what I mean. So it's twice as much running for a 4-year-old.
Moving.
That's crazy. That's so moving. And not only that, it's also
dangerous.
Yeah. Go run down the. I assume Marv ran with him the whole time.
You would hope so.
I would think he's a strength and conditioning coach. They monitored what he ate and did to Marv did anyway to not only an excessive but a really just ridiculous and extreme,
like journals and shit.
When he went to, well, we'll put it this way. Here's a great example from a lot of these articles. There was an SI article by Michael Rosenberg, I think, that had a lot of this kind of detailed background in it, and a couple other things too. He's been covered a lot and at different times though.
Sure.
I feel like nobody's really put it all together from the beginning to the end to now anyway. That's what we're trying to do here. So anyway, when he would go to birthday parties as a kid, like for other kids, they'd make him take his own cake, sugar-free, all that shit cake that he would have to eat, and all of that stuff. So
kidney ice cream,
kidney chunks to chew on, like gum. Want a piece of gum? No, I got this. I'm going to chew on this.
Want a gummy bear? No, I've got my own.
I've got kidney
shaped in bears.
They're not bears. They're shaped. Well, they're diced because my mother cut them, but it's originally shaped like a kidney. You know what that looks like? Yeah, that's what it was.
It's a big bean.
There's that.
Gross.
You can have some if you'd like. They would make. He had homemade ketchup. To cut the sugar out of it, prepared with honey. Only like the organic, non-hormone beef and all that shit. This is in the early 70s.
Yeah.
This shit didn't exist.
Way above the curve.
Yeah, now people are like, kids feed their people are pretentious assholes feed their kids that shit all the time. Not back then they didn't. Back then
pretentious.
This is beyond. This is insane. Like there'd be one store in town that in LA that would sell this shit back then. Like this wasn't a normal thing.
Pretentious dickhead patient zero.
Yeah, this was like when Mick Jagger came back from fucking Tibet, he probably ate stupid shit like this or something. That's it. So there's very few people. So Marv would put him on a balance beam at a young age. All this type of shit. He said that there was a football in Todd's crib from day one. Now, what Marv said here is pretty amusing. Keep this in mind, what he says here about the football, and then later on, keep remembering this line that he says. Quote, not a real NFL ball. That would be sick. It's just a stuffed ball. That would be sick. That's sick.
You put kidneys in his fucking mouth.
Oh, that's where he draws the line. That'd be sick. I didn't do that. It's a stuffed ball. I'm not crazy. How is he supposed to have an NFL football and a full kidney in there at the same time? They don't fit, stupid. Fit. Jesus. Duh.
I don't want him to get confused which one to put in his mouth.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's the thing. Jesus Christ, man.
They're about the same size, right? Probably.
Close.
Pretty close.
Kidney's probably a little smaller,
Is
I
it?
think. I guess.
I've never
football's
seen one.
rounder.
Yeah.
I don't know. It depends on if it's deflated. Who knows?
No.
No cartoons for little Todd? No. Old movies they let him watch and shit like that. Nothing. No cartoons. They were too mindless.
Yeah.
So they're trying to, body, mind. Yeah. They're doing it's like a weird. It's basically Blast from the Past, right. except this is in the real world.
Right.
That's the weird part. Like Blast from the Past with Brendan Fraser and all that, you could do that because they lived in a fucking bunker, right. and they don't have any other access to anything. This kid lives in L.A. Like this is or San Diego. This is difficult to. Yeah, he has access to anything he wants. So it's very difficult.
I don't know what's going to happen, obviously, but anything short of serial killer, old Marv should just be happy. Because this is crazy.
Because this is insane. That's what I mean.
This is horrible.
I promise you this. A lot of times during this episode, you're going to go, Jesus fucking Christ, Todd, you dumb shit. And then at other times, you're just going to go, God damn it, Todd, you poor bastard. You just poor son of a bitch. I mean, I guess that's what I mean. We've had this discussion a million times before. Is it better to be insane with your kid and be a fucking lunatic and drive them into whatever, or leave and never come back? Like it happens both ways. So, who knows whether you've never met your dad or your dad was up your ass from the moment you were born with everything you're doing.
Feeding you a fucking kidney.
Yeah. I mean, I guess at least he gives a shit. Yeah. Some people's parents don't give a shit at all. The mom drug him along to all the museums and everything like that. Eventually, once, Todd got a little bit older, 5, 6, Marvin realized he wasn't an expert on everything. Yeah. So he started to gather experts together. Yeah, for a 5-year-old to figure out, all the different speed, agility, strength, flexibility, quickness, body control, endurance, nutrition.
Everything a 3-year-old should have.
Obviously. I mean, it's sad. With some of these 7-year-olds now, they're flabby, Jimmy. Yeah. They're not in shape. Their cardio's poor. I don't know what they're benching, but it's not shit. No. I can tell.
It's really pathetic.
They're squatting, Jimmy, pitiful. Just pitiful squats on these kids. They can't do shit. So, it's sad here. You should see how they run the cone drill, too. It's lousy. Just lousy. So he's like
tripping over.
He's got him set up for like an NFL combine run at 7. Like, here's how you run the shuttle. Like, no, this is not what's happening. So he even found an expert to help improve Todd's peripheral vision.
How do you do that?
That's
inside.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's a lot like.
Is it a surgery?
No, it's probably a training exercise, kind of like you can train your eyes to see certain things. You can train, like Edgar Martinez the baseball player. He used to have a pitching machine pitch him golf balls, and he would put a little tiny dot on the golf ball with a marker, so he could see the spin of it and see which way it was coming.
Direction.
So if he could see the spin of a dot on a golf ball, seams on a baseball, it looked huge to him, and he said that helped him hit. It just trained your eyes to look for something small like that, and then you see something bigger.
That way you're focusing straight ahead on the thing. This is the
who knows?
What the fuck are you going to do?
It's the 70s too. Who knows? I mean, people were. I mean, they were Hare Krishnas in the 70s.
That's a good point.
Who the hell knows what was going on with these people? They were voting for Nixon and Jimmy Carter in the same decade. Like, what the hell was in a what was it, a 4-year period from 72 to 76? They went from fucking Nixon to Carter. Like,
but Nixon did that. Nixon's the reason Carter got elected.
It's just funny. Like they had no idea what they were doing in the 70s whatsoever. There was
one thing to another, complete
opposite. Then again, I guess never mind.
That's the way it goes.
Yeah, it's all backlash. Everything's backlash.
Everything's fuck you. We're voting the other way.
It's funny. I remember when Obama got elected. This is not political. This is just a joke. But I remember but it's true. When Obama got elected, I was sitting there and I was watching the scene unfold. Yeah. And he couldn't help but it's a nice scene. There's young people crying and 90-year-old black people crying who never would have thought they'd see the day of blah 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 blah. You see all that and you go, holy shit, this is amazing. And I'm looking at this and I go, wow, they're going to elect fucking Rush Limbaugh next time. This is going to be the backlash on this one's going to be huge.
It's not going to be good.
And they were like, no, Rush, you're a pussy, and they got him out of the way. And wow,
they multiplied him by Glenn Beck.
Yeah. And then fucking stuck Sean Hannity up its ass and then it attacked the city. So that's not political. That's objectively funny.
That's patently true.
And true. That's the other thing. So even if you love Trump, you're like, yeah, that's about right.
That's about right.
Yeah, but
sounds right.
Yeah. So anyway, he got at one time he had 13 people, biochemists, psychologists, everything to make sure his head was straight. Yeah. Basically, the way they put it is he used Eastern Bloc methods, like the way the Russians. Have you seen Rocky IV? Right. Anybody out there has seen Rocky IV? When Ivan Drago's in like a giant like room with machines and computers and exercise things with like sticky things hooked up to him, and they're checking his vitals and all. That's what he had him doing. Shit like that, where they're like
chambers
feeding him certain things, and there's a bunch of people in lab coats taking notes as they watch him run on a treadmill for some reason.
Rocky's chasing chickens.
He's running up a hill with a fucking log on his back, fully bearded, doing hang down pull-ups or sit-ups off the fucking
off the monkey bars,
off the loft of a barn. This guy's like, totally different.
Ridiculous.
There's an article in SI in the late 80s that is a very famous article where they talk about him the most. And that's where they nickname him Robo QB. Because he's, the picture, the photo is like him in a football uniform. And he's like a teenage, redheaded, goofy looking kid. Yeah. And behind him is like machines and dudes in lab coats and shit. And that's like a setup shot, but that's what they were trying to get across. And in this, they really play up the, fact. In the article, it says that he's never eaten a Big Mac or had an Oreo or anything like that. He's never had any of that stuff. But he did say that, like, that was not really true. Yeah. Like his mother would sneak him shit once in a while. When he'd go hang out with his grandfather, Chief there, the chief of police, the redheaded guy, later on as a teenager, Chief would give him beer and give him like whatever shit food.
Try this coffee. Yeah. It's amazing.
He'd give him like, bratwurst and shit like that he wasn't allowed to have. Just, what was he going to do? How is this going to hurt a kid?
Right.
So
that's grandpa spoiling the fuck out of that kid, though.
That's spoiling him. Here's normal food.
Spoiling him with a donut.
This is processed dairy. What do you think of that? Yeah. Pretty exciting, huh?
Try this cheap cheese. Isn't it amazing?
It's sick, right? Jesus Christ.
It's a little better than a kidney,
isn't it? It's going to be the best. No, then after a while, he's like, you got any kidneys around here? He's like, Todd, you don't have to eat kidneys anymore, Todd. Jesus Christ.
Not in my house, goddammit.
Not time, Todd. You can have whatever you want here. Todd talks about when he was a little kid, his dad was a trainer for the Hawaiians, which was a World Football League team. I am obsessed with the World Football League, by the way.
What a terrible name.
It's amazing. It's the weirdest. Like the Hawaiians, they're from Hawaii.
I assumed it was not the
really
Dallas
weird
Hawaiians.
if they were, I was going to say the Albuquerque Hawaiians. So either way, it's fine. We're thinking the same thing. But like, I love the USFL, which we've talked about a lot. That lasted for 3 years, and I love that. So it was good shit. But that I was a little kid, but I remember it very clearly and watching it a lot. World Football League's way before my time. It was mid-70s for 2 years, well, a year and some change. Yeah. And but fuck, it's the weirdest. It's the weirdest league. They had nothing going for them. They had guys playing that hadn't played in forever. It was the weirdest shit. And I don't know, there's something about it that's so interesting. Like, there's not a lot of footage left from it. There's not a lot of information about it. There's like a couple books. Like
Vietnam, like you had to be there to know.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's only a couple books about it. It's just not as well known. And it's the craziest thing. Like, some NFL players signed with this weird league, and like, it's just a fucking trip that they had teams in strange places that like folded in like 3 games and then moved to another city and played 4 games and then moved somewhere else. And
I like that.
It's fucking weird. Yeah, like the New York team, the New York Stars, I think they played like 3 games and moved to Charlotte, and then they ended up somewhere else under a different name, and teams were moving around. So much fun. Yeah. Anyway, his dad was a strength and conditioning coach there. Okay. And he said that he would see all these big guys that were playing football when he was 5 and 6, and he said, I wanted to do what those guys were doing. They were playing a game I wanted to play. He said it lit a fire in me. So he had a passion for football as a kid. He really did. That's the other thing. I don't know if he had a passion for all this other shit, but he really liked football. Okay. In 7th grade, he set a goal to be a starter on the varsity team as a freshman in high school, which they didn't do at all. You're not going to be starting quarterback as a freshman on the varsity team. He said he would do, he says his father had a progress chart for different physical things and put it up in the garage. Todd said, quote, "It was brutal. Sometimes I didn't want to do anything to do with it. He'd give me the look like, well, fine, but you're going to get your ass kicked when you start to play." And then he said,
got a point.
That's the thing. It worked on the field. Yeah. You can't argue with his success on the field before other factors took hold.
Athletes will tell you the game is not won on the field. The game is won in the gym.
Well, it's
the
a
game
prep
is won,
thing, especially if you're a quarterback. Right. It's all prep because you got to have your mental shit
you'll
together.
Beat everybody.
Yeah. So his sister Trudy, which is, his mom Trudy. Yeah. His sister Trudy. Right. His mom Trudy here says that his sister's name's Tracy. That's why it's confusing.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So she said, quote, "I don't think any of the kids were ever jealous of Todd," because they asked her, were the other kids in the family jealous of Todd, the attention Todd was given. He said, because they knew that when they left for that field or quarter gym, Todd was still going to be there for many, many hours. So it was One of those things. Like they weren't jealous because it was attention, but they were also like, Jesus, glad I don't have to do that. Yeah. I can go home and eat McDonald's. This fucking kid, on the other hand. So apparently whenever Marv was in between jobs, Trudy would work as a waitress or whatever to make ends meet, because strength and conditioning guys don't make a lot of money, especially not back then.
Right.
The fucking players didn't make a lot of money back then.
The first time I had heard about a strength and conditioning was the guy that was for the Suns, that weird-looking guy.
Yeah,
that looked like...
from the 90s.
Yeah, he looked like
Captain
90s.
Lou. Yeah.
He looked like Captain Lou Albano. He's the creepiest-looking fuck ever.
Some fucking rubber bands in his face.
And I think they announced his salary because he was on TV all the time and he became like a person, and he was making like $65,000 a year, which is not any fucking money.
No, especially when you have to travel around and all that shit.
Nothing.
It's going to go fast. Yeah, that's rough. But she said she would take him, like I said, to McDonald's. Chief would give him some pizza here, her father, and they said the sister said that she would hear Todd a couple times crying in his room, but nobody would say anything because they didn't want to argue with Marv. They were like, let's just let Marv. That's
his problem.
That's Marv's problem here. He said about the sister says about the father, quote, he didn't do reality too well. Yeah. So he just had this weird, like, it should be like this. Right. Todd attended a Christian junior high school and a Catholic high school also, but then he ended up playing later on. He wasn't religious or anything, though.
When did they change his name?
When he was a baby, like within 2 weeks of him being born. Mom was like,
this is dumb shit.
Yeah, let's change his name here. Okay. He set local and national high school passing records at Capistrano Valley High School in Mission Viejo, San Diego. Nice there. Area. Yeah, very nice area. He gets, I guess there's a February 10th is a National Letter of Intent Day. That's the first day that colleges are allowed to sign football prospects from high school. And he had 100. At that point, there's 104 Division 1A schools, and he had 100 of them that were trying to.
Only one didn't.
Four.
Right.
Four just probably were like, no, we're not getting him.
That's amazing.
Fuck it. So it was insane. Like he was just all over this shit. Imagine having, and they bombard you letters and phone calls, and that's stressful for a kid to have 100 of those things.
He's the hot girl.
It's too hot. He's going to go.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, he can't even deal with it at all. He's going to go put something baggy on. Yeah. And fucking walk around and put a hat on and pull the brim down real low.
Tape down his titties.
Yeah, I can't do this anymore.
Dressing like a lesbian.
Good Lord. No, like a hardcore. Yeah. Too. Like
lots of baggy flannel.
And that's what I mean. The outfit is. The outfit is going to be very, very like a brick wall in clothing form, basically. The clothing version of a punch in the face and a kick in the balls.
Jesus Christ.
So, Todd at this point, he said, quote, this is the biggest decision of my life. It means not only where I will play football, but most likely who I will marry, who my best friends for life will be, and where I will live. It means everything. And the one thing I know for sure is I'm too young to make this kind of decision by myself. He even had, at this point, before he goes to college, Tom House, who was a pitching coach for the Rangers, had analyzed on a computer program Todd's arm angle and his throwing, and found that his balance while throwing was perfect, like computer-wise, perfect, but his arm is 4.53 inches too low throughout his delivery, which is you can't have that.
Sounds like Phillip Rivers.
He's got to be high. Yeah, he's going to get a lot. He's like Bernie Kosar. He's going to get knocked down by the offensive line. That was extreme.
Picked off seven times a game.
Goddamn sidearm 3/4 bullshit. But this is very little. That's 4.5 inches. Right. And so he says that Todd has to work on it. Mm-hmm. So Todd was working on that for college. His father at this point had developed this whole thing into like a high-tech gym, just all about raising Todd. So much so that during high school, the Marinoviches break up, Trudy and Marv, over this whole thing.
Over the 4.5 inches thing?
They said, he's got to raise his fucking arm angle. And she's like, it's fine. Don't tell me about his arm. No, over everything. Over him being
I'll take half of everything over this 4.5. This is bullshit.
Can you imagine half of nothing? They have shit. She works as a waitress when he's not employed. So can you imagine though? Just it's too much after a while. It's got to be exhausting.
Oh my God!
You can't just do anything normal. A friend of his said, "quote All Marv has done is give up his entire life for Todd." Yeah. So his whole life was focused on that. Marv and Todd. Todd moves in with Marv, obviously, till for the end of high school. Okay. They live in a 1-bedroom apartment.
Hell yeah.
Todd sleeps in the bed. Marv sleeps on the couch.
Pussy pad.
Yeah, that's all there is to it. Well, that's what he said, too.
Really?
He said this was the time when everything, because it was, this was the time when everything kind of was a little bit looser because the whole environment was looser. And he said Dad was dating. When I was in high school, so I was hanging out with girls, and Dad was going out, so I had a little more freedom, and I could sneak a fucking hamburger in there now and then. Now, Marv says, quote, I think I'm a tyrant, but I think you have to be to succeed. The best thing about it is my relationship with my son. We wanted to have the healthiest possible mom and the healthiest possible child. It's fanatical, but I don't know if you can be a great success without being a fanatic. I suppose it was a little overdone. That's what he says. I suppose maybe the kidney was a little much.
Went a little too far.
Maybe I went too far at the kidney. The hamstring stretch and the medicine balls are fine, but the kidney, maybe? I could have traded that.
Gumming a kidney. That's fucking crazy.
It's a little much. Now, Todd said at the time, and even later on, he says that no one could be forced into that kind of life, basically. There's too much to do you have to be doing it voluntarily, pretty much. He says that, quote, there's no way somebody could be made to do all that stuff. I chose to do it. Well, I mean, he was told this was the best thing to do from birth, so.
Dad was heavily encouraging this.
Yeah. Right. Well, let's talk about how crazy was Marv.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this, because I'm sure everyone out there is going, exactly who is this fucking guy?
Behind the closed doors of government offices and military compounds, there are hidden stories and buried secrets from the darkest corners of history. From covert experiments pushing the boundaries of science to operations so secretive they were barely whispered about. Each week, on Redacted, Declassified Mysteries, we pull back the curtain on these hidden histories. 100% true and verifiable stories that expose the shadowy underbelly of power. Consider Operation Paperclip, where former Nazi scientists were brought to America after World War II, not as prisoners, but as assets to advance U.S. intelligence during the Cold War. These aren't just old conspiracy theories. They're thoroughly investigated accounts that reveal the uncomfortable truths still shaping our world today. The stories are real. The secrets are shocking. Follow Redacted, Declassified Mysteries on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Redacted early and ad-free right now on Wondery Plus.
Everyone out there should listen to Small Town Murder. You really should, mainly because you never know who's next door. And that's the point of this show, really. You never know who is next door. You never know what's going to happen on Small Town Murder. That's what makes it so wonderful. The only thing you do know is that people are going to die, and we're probably going to make jokes about it. That's it. That's all we can promise you. We dig into these towns. We see what makes them tick, from local legends to scandals they may have had. And, of course, the biggest scandals of all, horrible murders that take place there. And we put what I feel is a completely appropriate comedic spin on the whole thing. And you know you need a laugh right now. So get in there, listen to Small Town Murder, follow Small Town Murder on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Small Town Murder early and ad-free right now on Wondery Plus.
Let's talk about some incidents and some little anecdotes from the time here. Todd, when he was in 6th grade, he was playing one-on-one basketball against an 11th grader at a community center. And the older kid was kind of pushing him around a little bit and being physical with him under the boards like you do. So Marv was yelling, quote, you're not going to let him get away with it. And so the other kid said, get away with what? And so Marv ordered them to stop playing and fight.
Stop it.
Swear to God, he said, stop playing and fight each other.
Enough of this bullshit.
Enough of you pussies. Put your game of pussy ball and fight each other. God damn it. Start punching in the mouth. I went both ways. Not in a gay way either, you fucking wise ass. I heard that, you fucking bastard, shithead son of a bitch. All the kids are scared. So stop playing and start fighting.
They were all distracted, so Marinovich got sucker punched in, for sure.
Well, Todd said he wasn't even surprised.
Yeah.
Also, Marv had him boxing, because that's great for cardio and hand-eye coordination. So he had him boxing. So he liked, basically, Marv used to always make him box other kids. So he was like, Jesus Christ, now I got to fight this kid. So Todd gets in a couple punches, and I guess the crowd starts watching, and I guess somebody stepped in to break it up.
Yeah.
I guess an adult stepped in to break it up.
Don't do that, sir.
Marv didn't believe in this at all. He said, what are you doing? So Marv told him, you better back the fuck up.
Yeah.
And the guy said, quote,
you get smacked the fuck up.
You get smacked the fuck up. And the guy said, quote, what are you going to do about it?
Oh, boy, don't say that.
Old man.
Yeah.
That was the end of it.
Uh-oh.
What are you going to do about it, old man? And Marv said, well, I'm going to stomp your head into the fucking ground. And that's exactly what he did. He apparently beat the living shit out of this guy, knocked a bunch of his teeth out. Todd said he remembers seeing teeth quote, flying like a cartoon through the air.
Yeah.
So,
how would you know? You've never seen them, you fuck.
Well, he imagines what they would look like animated.
Probably is how it looks in a cartoon.
This must be what a cartoon is as they're flying through the air. If only he knew.
Yeah.
He says that he remembers hearing the sound of them falling on the ground, and then he remembers Marv grabbing him and them running to their car together and speeding away.
Son, that was assault. Get in.
Son, the cops are going to be here very soon. You need to get in right now. What I just did, super illegal. That kid was 15 that I just beat the shit out of. I don't think this is okay. Jesus Christ. So Todd said the car rides were the worst because, number one, Marv would be lecturing him the whole time. And then if somebody cut them off, Marv would scream and yell. And then Todd was saying, oh, Jesus Christ, don't let this other guy pull over because then my dad's going to get out of the car and beat the living shit out of him. So it was one of those things.
You should have seen what he just did to a 15-year-old.
Just don't challenge him.
Get back in your car.
That's the thing. Todd is just praying that no one challenges Dad, please, because he's going to go into a fucking rage, and he's a lunatic offensive lineman, captain of a football team. Yeah. He's a maniac, and he's strong as an ox, and he's got no fear.
None.
He's crazy. So
he will take your teeth,
sir. He can't wait. He's going to animate your teeth. It's a new euphemism for knocking. I'm gonna animate your teeth, motherfucker. So you're gonna fly through the air like cartoons.
He's gonna DreamWorks your mouth.
Yeah. So. Yeah, he said that, if somebody would pull over, Marv would beat the crap out of the guy or, that sort of thing. That's just the way he was. He said he would, Marv beat people up all over the place. He was always getting in fist fights all over the place.
I certainly believe that.
This is not, they said he beat up people at Todd's football, basketball, and baseball games. Oh. So nowadays he'd be banned from every youth field in America. But back then, fathers could fight over shit, and it wasn't considered bad form. It was
competition, James.
It's insane. At one point, Marv, this is amazing. Marv threw a female neighbor over a fence.
No.
Just said, "You're going over there," and tossed her over a fence. Well, I don't.
Maybe that's where her house was, and he just was helping. Are you lost? I'll help you.
You need to go over here. Why go around here? Well, just go over. It's easier. It's a long walk. It's a long walk there, sister. Wow.
I got you, boo.
One time, Marv picked up Trudy, his wife, or at the time, and threw her across the room onto the dining room table.
Yeah.
So he gets violent, very much with violent. He said that the worst Todd said was he'd get back from games and practices, and the father would be driving, and Todd would be sitting there, and he said that Marv would hit him in the face repeatedly, open-handed. He'd smack him all the time.
Okay.
And then, she said that Trudy said the mother, when she'd get in the driver's seat after a game the next day, she could barely see through the windshield because there was so much dried spit on it for Marv screaming. Wow. That's the level of psycho he was going, and screaming and just swinging his open hand at his son in the passenger seat, whacking him. Meanwhile, he's the best football player in Southern California, but he fucked something up, so he's getting paintbrushed. End of story.
Coating the windshield with his fucking spit.
Yeah, and paintbrushing the passenger seat at the same time. At one point later on, finally, Todd calls his father, quote, a raging beast. He said he never told his mother or his sister that his dad used to hit him. He said he would just look over everything, and he would worry about He just worried about everything. He worried that his mom and his sister wouldn't want anything to do with him after they broke up because all of that shit. He says, quote, he said, this is what he said. Before he was even 10, he learned that in his mind, he said, quote, the only one who can fix this is me. I just have to play better.
Oh, wow.
So that's where he's at right now. I'll make the whole house better if I have a good game. So if I don't, then everything's going to be crazy. He's going to hit me. Mom's going to yell at him. They're all going to fucking fight. Everything's nuts.
Even if you're having a great game, your dad's beating the shit out of
but
people.
If I play, that's fine. But if I play perfect, then the house will be different.
Okay.
If I just play perfect. And every kid has had this, well, if I do this or if it's a crazy thing that a kid has. We're in a world you can't control. Right. But in this case, it's very sad because it's like performance based. And he says that a lot in his life about it's a performance based love. Yeah. He got a lot of performance based love. Based on that's like his dad, whether he played well or not. Fans, if he was playing well, they loved him. It's a lot of
always be close.
Not a lot of unconditional. Exactly. Not a lot of unconditional here.
A chart on the wall of how many hugs he gets this week.
Yeah, no shit. Oh my God. He says too, he would like at school, he would trade like his fruit for Cheetos and shit like that with other kids. He'd try to do shit, but then when he'd be in articles and they'd ask him about it, he'd be like, "Oh yeah, never had a Big Mac, never had an Oreo." Because he said, "Quote, I was in fear. Am I going to tell the truth to a writer and go home and deal with Marv? That's a fucking no-brainer." Said that's it, man. He said, he said he just had to stick to the lie. There was this big marketing lie, and he was like, "Great, sure, no problem." He said he didn't even realize the diet was going to be such a big deal. Right. So they asked him, and he was like, "Yeah, sure, never had a Big Mac." And then that's
oh boy,
that's the
little Timmy and lunch. Better shut his fucking mouth.
The title of the article is Robo QB, and then in the second bold print, it's like never had a Big Mac or an Oreo, and then there's the article. So that's like the lead. In SI, he said that was the 1988 was his "you have to be a fanatic" thing that Marv said. Also in 1988. Poor Tracy, the sister. A, she's not getting any attention from her dad, and B, the attention she's getting, not terrific. Let's talk about it. Oh, no. Tracy, the way she looked at it, Todd never had to do chores. Yeah. She did. Todd switched high schools for a better football environment, so the family moved closer to the new high school, so she had to have a 2-hour bus commute to her old school. Todd never had a job. Tracy worked at, diners and shit like that in high school, regular high school jobs. Todd had a football scholarship. Tracy has, student debt.
Loans.
Yeah. She said she paid $400 a month in student debt for this college education she had to get. Now that's bad enough. Yeah. But it's worse when this shit comes up. Tracy gets married in 1988, I'm sure just to get the fuck out of this place. Marv refused to give her away and almost didn't come to the wedding. Okay? Why?
Yeah.
Guess why?
Because she's his.
Well, no. One more guess. I'll give you another guess.
He hates the dad.
Okay, no. Her fiance.
I'm bad at Family Feud. I'm sorry.
Fiance was not athletic enough.
Oh, for Christ's sake. He's got weak shoulders? What the fuck?
Your shoulders are not developed enough, as Sally McNeil's husband told her, which got him dead. Yeah. And deservedly so, because who the fuck is he to talk about her shoulders? But anyway, this is amazing. She said that not athletic enough.
Wow.
I will not give you away to someone who's not athletic enough.
Right.
What athletic enough has to do with this, I have no idea. There's no game, there's no competition.
Right. She's like he's a fucking doctor, he doesn't have to be.
There's no marriage tournament they're going to enter in a 2-on-2 basketball environment afterwards. Like there's no reason.
Are we going to be on supermarket sweep, Dad? What do you need us to be athletic for?
I don't know if that's just fucking code for Jewish or what. I'm just joking, but I figure Marv wouldn't like that either. So no, he said he's not athletic enough. Marv wouldn't even shake the man's hand.
Wow.
Wouldn't shake his new son-in-law's hand. Say congratulations, nothing. Nope, you're not an athlete. Rather than say, we should have said, well, fuck, I don't see you doing anything about it. Train me.
Yeah.
So,
you got any kidney around here?
Well, I'll munch on it right now. Freeze it up, motherfucker. So, Tracy said, quote, he's going to be a very sad old man. Yeah. So, it's true later on, as we'll talk about. Like we said, college and high school, Todd was off the charts. Threw for 4,400 yards and 34 touchdowns in his first 2 years of high school, freshman and sophomore year. He became the first freshman to start a varsity high school game in Orange County.
Oh,
period. So
First one
to start a varsity high school game in Orange County at quarterback, which is pretty fucking amazing. So he reached his goal. The first high school he went to was the alma mater of Matt Barkley and Matt Leinart, who are future USC quarterbacks. And
never to play in the NFL.
No, poorly. But those trophies are shiny on their shelves. I'll tell you that much. They look great. Yeah. He was in his first 2 years there, he ends up breaking the all-time Orange County passing record and later the national high school record by passing for 9,914 yards. 2477 in his senior year. So, not bad. He's named Parade All-American, National High School Coaches Association's Offensive Player of the Year, the Dial Award for the National High School Scholar Athlete of the Year, and also the Touchdown Club's National High School Player of the Year.
How about that?
So it's unanimous.
He's everything.
He's the best guy in the country, basically. So that's why 100 colleges want him to be their quarterback.
Okay.
I assume the 4 that don't have like a sophomore who's amazing at quarterback. They have
or they just know that everybody else is going to get him, and
or they're just weak.
Why even buy a ticket?
Why? But they have just real pessimist fucking recruiting guys. I don't know. They're not going to want us. So, he said, quote, I really looked forward to giving it all I had at the game on Friday night and then continuing through the weekend with the partying. It opened up a new social scene for me, liquid courage. I wasn't scared of people anymore. So that's how that works. 10th grade, he said he also started smoking a little weed. He said by the time he was a junior, he said, quote, I was a full-on loadie. So he was just fucking smoking weed and drinking and doing all that shit. He said, probably the best part of my childhood was me and Marv's relationship my junior and senior years. After the divorce, he really loosened up. It was a bachelor pad. We were both dating. Things change a little bit. Also, he said every day before school, he'd meet up at a friend's house and do bong hits with people, which is my routine when I was a senior in high school, too. It was a blunt back then, and then we'd go to school from there and try to figure out second period what was going on. So they do that. A bunch of the guys were basketball players and shit like that. Todd is also he's very into art. And he's very good at art. Okay. So, he's into art this whole time too. He's not a jock kind of a guy. Yeah. That's the thing. He's more of like a stoner surfer artist kind of cat, like at heart. So he doesn't fit in. You know what I mean? Like it feels like in a certain way.
The whole reason to play football is for money. But when you're an artist, you're like, fuck money.
Yeah, it's a weird thing, especially
part of this capitalistic bullshit.
Well, yeah, especially when you've done it your whole life, and it's like, whoa, I just don't want to do that anymore. I've been chewing on a kidney since the crib here. He said, quote, pot just relaxed me. I could just function better in public. I never played or practiced high. It wasn't as hard on my body as drinking. I thought, man, I found the secret. I was in love, which if he just stuck to that, great.
Fine.
Great. We'd be telling a whole different story. We wouldn't be telling any story. We'd be telling a different story. During his senior year, he was playing basketball, and he said while he was playing, a bunch of the kids in the student section of the school were chanting Marinovich when he was at the free throw line.
You bastards.
In a loving way.
Shut up, fuckers. My dad's here.
That's the problem. In a loving way, but he's like, oh, Jesus Christ, what the fuck's Marv going to think?
That's Marilyn Monroe singing a JFK.
Yeah, like,
Shut up, bitch.
What the fuck are you doing?
Down.
Be looking at me like that.
Get me in trouble.
You just stroked my dick. You ran your hand lightly across my dick. Do you understand you did that shit? My wife is right here. She is not going to be down with that.
She is going to be furious.
He said, quote, I was supposed to be shooting free throws, but I was really glancing into the stands. I was trying to see if my father noticed.
Hell yeah.
And apparently he didn't. So he was choosing his main schools he was choosing between were ASU, BYU, Washington, Miami, Stanford, and USC. Okay. So these are all big football powerhouses, especially then. Also in 1988, he is taken by the California Angels in the 43rd round of the 1988 baseball amateur draft. He's got an arm. Yeah, he's got a fucking cannon for an arm. What the hell? He played baseball in high school, too.
Give it a shot.
Why not? He doesn't sign with them, obviously. So he wants to go to Stanford in his mind a little bit, I think, just to get away from his dad.
Yeah.
But he picks
California.
He picks USC. It's both his parents' alma mater. And I mean, he's expected to go to USC. It's one of those things. So right away they're excited. The assistant coach there says, quote, "It's a little too early to talk about him getting us to a national championship, but I do know you can't get there without a superior quarterback, and he's a superior quarterback."
Yeah.
And he said that, quote, "I hope to be the best quarterback ever to come out of California." And they asked him, better than Elway and better than Plunkett? And he said, yeah.
Hell yeah.
So that's what everybody wants.
Smell my breath. I still got kidney on it.
Shit, man.
Let's go.
He's a lefty, too. We got to bring that up. He's a left-handed thrower.
Did I know that? I don't think I knew. Yeah, I did.
Which is odd. So he's got this, he's red and freckly with a lefty release.
Jesus.
It's just odd at quarterback. You don't see a lot of left-handed quarterbacks. You have to be extremely talented for them to go, we'll just make everything backwards for you. Because the whole offense has to be backwards as far as the calls. And basically all of these other guys, half of a football team, have to learn football backwards now.
They got to learn another position from the other side of the field.
Because you throw silly. So they're like, why don't we just get a guy who throws normal and everyone can just stand there?
You got a wide receiver turning left that usually turns right. That's not good.
Your left tackle's now your right tackle.
Right.
So your left tackle doesn't know how to play right tackle because that's a completely different thing.
The line, forget it.
And your right, the line's fucked up. Your receiver, all the plays are backwards too. So it's a totally different. It's doable, but it's you see Steve Young and guys like that, and Michael Vick when he was before he was drowning dogs.
It's frustrating. You end up
like that.
You end up taking it out on your dog.
It's what it is. Like, just reverse the plays. Where are you, mother? So he says, quote, "Actually, I want to be the best quarterback who ever threw the ball." And he says, "I want to play for the Rose Bowl and national championships."
Okay.
So that's it. But the problem is, he's kind of an introvert. He says he smokes weed to ease his social anxiety. Well, that sounds familiar.
Yeah.
He does that. He says, though, when he left for UFC, he thought finally, what did I say? UFC?
Yeah.
When he left for the UFC to go be pummeled. By the way, speaking of the UFC, Greg Hardy just fought a fight for the UFC.
No kidding?
Yeah. I don't want to hear Dana White shit ever again
about people being bad.
About people being bad and blah, 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 and we're going to take a tough stance. And shut up.
You're not taking a tough stand on anything.
I read an article. I didn't watch the fight. I read an article, and they said repeatedly UFC, UFC, UFC. So hopefully the person wasn't just an idiot and it was some like knockoff
KFC.
MMA brand. But if it's UFC, dude, fuck you.
You got a long way to go, Dana, in cleaning your shit up.
I heard what that guy did.
Yeah.
If you hire that guy and you want that guy around you, then you're a complete piece of shit and you have no morals whatsoever. No. Bring in murderers, fucking bring in OJ and let him beat somebody up. It doesn't matter at this point because you've lost any credit. I mean,
please do, because
he's a psychopath.
We'll end up calling this crime in UFC.
That would be amazing. That'd be amazing.
Forever. It'll just keep going.
Hey, till the end of the world. In 89 here, at USC, Marv, he's a redshirt his freshman year, goes to classes, but doesn't play at all. Rodney Pete's their quarterback that year. So, he was in the NFL forever, guys, with the Lions and a bunch of other people, Raiders for a while.
Dolphins?
I think so. Maybe, but I don't know.
So.
I don't know. What do you think?
Remember. I think so. I think Dolphins. Exposed.
Yeah, there you go. He's with the Royals, Jimmy. He's with the Royals 2 years ago. So Marv goes to every practice, which Todd is not happy about. As a freshman, he earns the starting job at quarterback. Todd does, which is pretty impressive here. He said the more people paid attention, the more it scared him. He said he was just fearful of everything because he's fearful of his dad. He's fearful of fucking up. Now he's got like a million his dads now looking at him, expecting big things from him. He said he would kind of coast at the start of the games, and then he would until he got hit. He would kind of wake up and be like, "Oh shit, I'm in a game. Okay, get your shit together here." He said he would play his ass off hard, and then he would party really hard after the game, and then he said he would wake up the next morning and be full of anxiety again.
He's Motley Crue.
Yeah, that's what it is. He's just full of, exactly, that whole description. He says, quote, "I didn't have the tools. I did not know how." He said he hated classes. He only knew how to do football, basically. He had didn't know how to do anything. At one point in his freshman year, he didn't have a dorm because he just didn't fill out the paperwork for housing. So he had nowhere to stay.
I didn't know how to do that.
They told him to do it, and he was just like, I just didn't do it because he just doesn't know how to do things other than eat kidney and play football.
Right.
That's it. He said he had been coached more than anyone else on the team, but yet he was not really coachable. He wasn't good at that. Now, if he starts out in spring as a backup, and then the starter has a broken leg, so he comes in and becomes the first freshman quarterback to start the first game of the season for USC since World War II.
Wow.
When the first stringer was in fucking Japan, or was in the Pacific somewhere, was fighting in the Philippines. So the first time.
Bring up a world conflict as a time reference.
That's a long time ago. Yeah. A world war as a reference is a lot. So 89 with USC, I'll say that time. They go 9-2-1. They are ranked 8th in the AP poll that year. This was before the BCS and all that shit. They go to the Rose Bowl, which for USC is a huge deal.
That's what he said he wanted.
Rose Bowl versus Michigan, which is huge. That's a giant game, and they win 17-10.
How about that?
So amazing.
With him at the helm.
With him as the quarterback. This is the year they had like a Ricky Irvins. I don't know if you remember him running back for a while. Guys like that. Mark Carrier, the Bears safety for a long time, who was a hard-hitting son of a bitch, a lot of interceptions. He played there. Todd played in 12 games, 219 for 352, 62.2% completion percentage.
Great.
Not bad at all. 2,578 yards, 16 touchdowns, 13 picks, which he's 18 years old, so he's going to throw a couple picks.
It's going to happen.
Decisions are, you're going to make a bad decision.
4 years older than you playing in that game.
Not only that, plus in college, your receivers aren't that great also, so you could hit them in the hands and it tips off their hands, and that's an interception.
Then it goes to the safety and it's over.
Yeah, interceptions are a hard thing to rate. You really got to see how they happened to know. I mean, you don't know.
That 62% completion total is more important than anything else.
Well, I don't understand why they don't. In the days now of everything's analytics and everything's by computers and everything automatically goes into these stat programs. These old stat machines. They put a punch card in, see, and it comes out with your answer. No, they have these programs that everything is immediately put into stats. I don't know why there's not a I know there is one somewhere, but why it's not a readily available stat as far as you have interceptions and then you
like tip ball.
Break it down to their fault, not their fault.
Right.
That's
a great,
You can tell. Sometimes the receiver ran a fucking wrong route. He was supposed to be there and he wasn't. Right. So that's not his fault that the safety was there. Right. Also, like a tip ball, you see him hit a guy right between the numbers and pop up in the air sometimes. That's a pick. That's the quarterback's fault.
Or off a lineman's hand.
That's the quarterback's fault. That's if it's off the lineman's hand,
you think
still.
So?
Yeah,
is that still the quarterback's fault?
Yeah, that's because he should have not thrown it into a lineman's hand.
Well, I guess.
But if he hits his receiver where he should and it goes off of him, that's not his responsibility anymore. That's the receiver's ball. Okay. Once it touches him in a position he should have caught it, it's all yours.
That's all your error.
All yours.
That's what it should be, just like a baseball error.
Yeah,
for
that's
the
what I mean.
Wide receiver, not for the quarterback. Call
exactly.
Throw an E on the back of the fucking
That's a good way to put it. That's a good way to put it. That's really good. So against Washington State, he led a last-minute comeback. There it was 91 yards down the field, Elway style, with 11 completions and a touchdown pass and a 2-point conversion. That was such a big deal that Ronald Reagan called him and invited him over to his house in L.A.
That?
And then Marinovich went over there and knocked on the door, and Reagan opened it and said, "Who the fuck are you?"
Yeah.
Said, "You invited me." He said, "I have no idea what you're talking about," and slammed it in his face. I've never heard of you.
I don't remember that.
What's a telephone?
What year is it?
What's my wife's name? Where is she? Hey, lady. Shrug lady with the fucking commercials. Get in here. Who's this fucking guy? Who's this ginger fuck?
Who's this redheaded fuck on my step?
So they won the Rose Bowl. Yeah. Reagan wants to hang out with him and have a fucking powwow.
Or at least he used to.
Grace. We're going to say Grace right here.
Unbelievable.
That's Grace. He says, "I'm finally away from my dad telling me everything to do, and I got to say I have taken full advantage of it. Full advantage. He keeps telling me, 'Come on, you've got the rest of your life to fool around. Not now.' I know he's right, but there's a lot of distractions at SC, which here it's fucking
college, you idiot.
College in Southern California, and you're the star."
Right.
Jesus Christ, man.
If that doesn't produce distractions, then there's no such thing as a distraction.
I would say so. It's fucking amazing. And at one point, though, he in his freshman year, he was hanging out with his mother, and he said, quote, "I wish I could go somewhere else and be someone else. I don't want to be Todd Marinovich." He's feeling some pressure. Mm-hmm. So he's felt a lot of pressure. By 1990, everyone knows on campus that Todd smokes weed, Todd drinks, Todd parties. It's an open secret. Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things.
Sure.
Everyone knows shit.
People in high school knew.
Everyone knows. Yeah. Now, his coach his coach for USC, Coach Smith, Coach Smith's daughter, Allie, is in high school, and she's having drug problems as well. So this coach is kind of stuck in a weird spot where he's got a daughter that's having the same problems his quarterback is having, and he can't fucking do anything about any of it. So he's having problems there. Just keep that in mind. Remember that for a while. It comes up later. I think I put that in there for nothing. I'll tie that ribbon up at the end here.
Tie that knot later.
Yeah. He said the partying at USC started on his recruiting trip. Yeah. It never ended.
Well, it fucking better.
Yeah, he said from the beginning to the end, he said, quote, and it continued until my last game there. It never really stopped. Drinking a lot, smoking a lot of pot, a little bit of cocaine, just the beginning with that, sprinkled in with a little hallucinogenics. So, you know, Jesus Christ.
What a good time.
Yeah, but they were calling him in 1990 the most highly anticipated USC football player since O.J. Simpson, which is a great reference for many reasons now. It's amazing.
That was some early foreshadowing.
That was some foreshadowing. And nobody knew. And they also talk about his teammates that people would help him pass the drug test because he would cheat on these drug tests. And we'll talk about exactly how he would do that. He had a whole routine here. 1990, the Trojans go 8-4-1. So they're 20th in the AP Bowl. They go to the Sun Bowl, which is not the Rose Bowl, against Michigan State, which is not Michigan. And they lose 17-16, which is not a win. So 0-for-3 on the Bowls that year.
That's Florida, isn't it?
I believe
think that's
so.
Somewhere in Florida.
Or somewhere in Texas, maybe.
Somewhere in the South.
Knows. Yeah, somewhere in the South where it's sunny.
Yeah.
It's not in Rochester.
And it's not
probably.
Good sunny.
No,
it's sticky and gross.
And you can't see.
Yeah, you're always squinting.
Where's there a tree anywhere? It's like Phoenix. It could be here. Maybe it's in Tucson. That would make it the most miserable of all.
He got more of a cramp in his shoulder from holding his hand above his eyes.
Yeah, what's going on?
The ball.
Squinting. He's got crow's feet when he's done. He was suspended 1 week that year for cutting class. But he started 11 of 13 games that year. Plays in 13, starts 11, 196 for 322, 60.9% completion percentage, 13 touchdowns, 12 picks. So, still doing very well. Now, just after the season, they lose the Sun Bowl in that's New Year's Eve. That was a New Year's Day game, I believe. January 21st, he is walking around at 4:15 in the morning.
God damn it.
Walking down the street.
Go home, Todd.
Go home, Todd. He's near his mother's house. Yeah. Walking with three friends. And cops, because they were being loud, they were drunk at 4 in the morning, stumbling through the streets. Cops stopped them. And as the cop was talking to the four men, he wrote in his report, quote, the subject, who was later identified as Todd Marinovich, was observed attempting to conceal something behind his back.
Yeah.
Not terrific. So all four men were searched, and police found a bindle, not a homeless bindle, a cocaine bindle in Marinovich's waistband that had about 1 gram of cocaine. None of the other men were carrying anything. Yeah. Dummy. Are they famous?
Yeah.
No.
Who the fuck are you guys?
You carry it.
Yep.
Who's the fucking most worthless person here?
Right.
You're carrying the fucking coke because I can't get busted.
Average? I'm the fucking quarterback, Dix.
Sorry. It's going to be in
my hand.
Not going to be in the paper if you get busted.
No.
Me, I'm fucking front page here. Right. So yeah, he ends up being arrested for the possession of cocaine. 1 count. It's a felony. Yeah. Spends 7 hours in custody and was released on his own recognizance at 11 o'clock in the morning. And there's that. He's booked and released there. His father, imagine this shit.
Boy.
Wow. His father said, quote, I'm numb, when they asked him about it. He said, the problem with Todd is he wants so badly to be liked by everybody. He always wants to blend in, be one of the boys. But he has to learn to stand up and say, no, you go ahead. That's not for me.
You started this, Dad.
Yeah, this is, dude.
He wants to blend in because he always stood out.
He has to. He has no choice but to blend in. Right. He can't just go do where he's comfortable. Yeah. He can't be where he's comfortable.
I mean, he's born into red hair and 6'4". That's a problem.
Yeah.
He's going to stand out there.
Right away.
Dad's forcing him into all this fucking crazy, by his own definition, fanatic lifestyle of just extremism when it comes to health regimen. Everywhere he goes, he stands out, where his friends are like,
can't do anything.
What do you got there? I got Cheetos. What do you got? I got fucking frozen grapes
I got
kidney.
This
is a fucking horrible life.
Want a kidney gummy?
He just stands out everywhere. So, of course, he's trying to blend in.
How is he not?
Right.
Plus, you can train him for everything, but maybe inside he doesn't fit in with football players.
Right.
So if he doesn't fit in, social is just not in his brain, then you have to, it's weird. You're square peg in a round hole, you know? So his mother, after the arrest, said she was stunned. Then she said, this is awesome. This is some mother shit here. Quote, I can't tell you anything because he was arrested for possession. We don't know at this time if someone planted it on him or anything. I just don't want to get into what he was doing or who he was with.
Way to go, Trudy.
Not telling you shit.
Yeah.
Someone could have planted it on him for all I know, so how the fuck am I going to comment on it? Peace, bitches. And she walked
in the
out.
Bathroom.
Mic drop. I don't know nothing. I was in the bathroom. So, February 2nd, he, basically that's going to get him suspended from USC. Yeah. So he says, fuck it, I guess I'm in for the draft.
Yeah.
So he's going to drop out of school here and enter the NFL draft. February 2nd, 1991. He does that. He says, quote, I'm really relieved. It's a big weight off my shoulders. Now I can just concentrate on preparing for a giant step. It's definitely the ultimate challenge preparing for the NFL. I don't expect it to be easy, but I've worked hard my whole life and I expect to work even harder. I'll play for anyone who believes in my future and my ability.
Yeah.
So standard.
Yeah.
That's part of his training was a PR person taught him to say that when he was 7.
Yeah. That statement's been in his head for a long time.
And just replace whatever with NFL, with whatever. Just replace those words. It's a form letter he knows how to say.
It's Mad Lib's statement.
That's all it is.
A few miles from the glass spires of Midtown Atlanta lies the South River Forest. In 2021 and 2022, the woods became a home to activists from all over the country who gathered to stop the nearby construction of a massive new police training facility, nicknamed Cop City.
At approximately 9 o'clock this morning, as law enforcement was moving through various sectors of the property, an individual, without warning, shot a Georgia State Patrol trooper.
This is We Came to the Forest, a story about resistance.
The abolitionist mission isn't done until every prison is empty and shut down.
Love and fellowship.
It was probably the happiest I've ever been in my life.
And the lengths we'll go to protect the things we hold closest to our hearts. Follow We Came to the Forest on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this White Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. We're going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles.
A big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud.
Sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.
Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit more about Untuck It.
Oh, untuckit.com.
You can't beat Untuck It. Untuck It is fantastic. Ever wonder why traditional button-up shirts look so long and baggy if you wear them out?
Yeah.
It's because they weren't meant to be worn out. They're meant to be tucked in underneath everything, and it's a silly thing. Untuck It shirts, though, on the other hand, these are specifically designed to be worn untucked with more than 50 fit combinations. Untuck It shirts look great on tall, short, slim, and athletic guys of all ages. And I can tell you that this is actually a fact because it's not easy to find shirts if you're tall and slim. It's not an easy thing. And they have shirts for that. They have shirts for not short and not thin. They have shirts for whatever you need. And they really are. They're beautiful shirts.
They fit great.
Great fitting shirts. And I really like the fact that I don't want to tuck my shirt in. I'm too tall. It's annoying. I look weird and broken in half. And so I want to wear my shirt out. out. It breaks me up a little bit. And these you can actually wear out, and you don't have to look like a goofball and try to go, oh, is it too long and weird in the back if I untuck? You guys, you've all done it. And you've tried it.
Tucking my shirt in, then my belly shows.
That's
like it pushes out. It's terrible.
It's not great. So the only thing you can do is go to Untuck It and be like us and have some Untuck It shirts. Because I'm telling you guys, you're not going to be frustrated by that with this shirt. They're great stuff. You try it on in person at one of Untuck It's 50 stores, or just go to untuckit.com to get started. They offer free shipping and returns on all orders in the U.S., which is amazing. And you can save 20% on your first order by using our code CRIME at checkout. That's untuckit.com, promo code CRIME.
And now back to the show.
He's got a court date February 11th. He's going to be arraigned on counts of drug possession here. Basically, he pleads guilty and enrolls in a drug rehab class. That means he ends up being cleared of the charges. They end up dismissing the charges and doing that sort of thing. So his father says that rehab is, quote, baloney. He doesn't believe in it at all. So he's not really helping his son at all in this respect.
I have 30 professionals that'll back my claim up.
Baloney.
Baloney. Right.
So, he insists instead that Todd is clean. He says the rehab's bullshit. This is all silly. Quote, I had doctors put him through tests, and they said he didn't have a problem, which is amazing. He says life isn't always a bed of roses, but quality people bounce back. This has been a wake-up call for Todd, and it will make him a better person.
Okay.
So he's clean. I had doctors put him... I gave him 45 different tests. Wow. He's dismissed from the team. He ends up filing for the NFL draft. His coach at USC says he's shocked to hear about his cocaine arrest. He says, this is a silver statement as fuck right here. Quote, I was shocked to hear this news. I haven't talked to Todd yet, but I'm trying to get a hold of him. A week ago, Todd was suspended indefinitely from our football program, but that suspension was not related to this problem. USC has a very strong drug testing program for all its athletes. And in the time I've been here, it's worked very effectively.
Okay.
No, it hasn't at all, because he
played a whole season.
You didn't catch two. You didn't catch him once.
Right.
So that shows you how great that was.
You won one and lost one, and you didn't know a thing.
You didn't know shit. 1991 NFL Draft. This is number 1 overall pick is Russell Maryland, the defensive tackle there that goes to Dallas. This is kind of a light draft. Yeah. We'll put it that way. There's not, you look through Mike Kroll, Denver guy, remember him? Yeah. It's okay. It's, a lot of decent guys like that. Herman Moore, the good wide receiver for Detroit, but, Alvin Harper, not Michael Irvin, Alvin Harper, the other Cowboy receiver. This is all in the first round, so it's not... First 5 picks are Russell Maryland, Eric Turner, Bruce Pickens, Mike Kroll, and Todd Light.
Pickens wasn't bad, right?
Bruce Pickens, the defensive back? You're thinking of Carl Pickens, the receiver for the Bengals, who was pretty good.
Okay.
Bruce Pickens...
where did he go?
Bruce Pickens goes to Atlanta. Oh. Let's see how many appearances he had.
7.
Games, he played in 48 professional games.
Okay.
So at least the other guys played for a few years. Todd Light Mike Kroll played 102 games. Todd Light 175.
That's a tough first round.
Yeah, that is. That's really
a tough whole draft then. If that's the first round.
That's the first round. This was a real 90 was a pretty heavy draft. You got like Emmitt Smith and guys like that. This is a completely different deal. Number 24 overall, the Oakland Raiders select Todd Marinovich.
Hell yeah, they do.
Out of USC. This apparently the legend has it, and who knows if this is true, but the problem is at 33, another quarterback is selected, less than 10 picks later, and that quarterback is Brett Favre, who's in the Hall of Fame, and Todd Marinovich isn't, and we'll talk more about that. So
the Raider fans are kind of pissed about it?
Well, apparently the scouts all of his football people told him to take Favre, and he wanted Marinovich.
Really?
Because he was in L.A., he's a USC quarterback, and he wanted that, not some fucking kid from the middle of nowhere. He wanted the famous, big-time, Al Davis likes that, and he wants to sell tickets, and that's what he's trying to do.
Same hair as my son.
Come
It'll be adorable.
It'll be great. So, Brett Favre Favre goes number 33 to Atlanta. And like I said, rest of the draft, nothing special. Real. I mean, there's some Ricky Waters goes 45th. Aeneas Williams went in round 3. He's good, Hall of Famer. But I mean, so now he's a Raider. He buys a Manhattan Beach townhouse, a block from the ocean.
Oh, boy.
Baby, right in Southern California, $900,000 for that bad boy. This is on a $2.25 million contract. He's doing this. So he's
already spent half his money on a house.
He's expecting to play more, I would think.
Clearly.
Because, after your age and your taxes, that's your house. So, September 91, he's been there a couple months. Manhattan Beach police officers respond to complaints of loud parties at his home 4 times in September. Each time he promised to stop. Neighbors actually at one point circulate a petition asking him to stop making so much noise.
Who does he think he is, Logan Paul?
That's what I mean. That's basically the situation. The neighbors get a petition not to give to him, to say, look, all of us, please stop. You're keeping...
We've been talking. Who's we? I'll get documentation.
Everybody. You know that street down there, the Elm on that whole street, and then all these people... Everyone.
If you see them when you're leaving, they said it too.
That's it. Everyone on the inside of this big gate. I'm sure.
Also, Manhattan Beach is fucking L.A. You are a long way from Oakland. That's a drive,
well, this
man.
is L.A. Raiders back then.
Oh, that's right.
I said Oakland, but it's the L.A. Raiders. This was, I believe, right? Yeah.
Okay.
This is when they're
now
in
it
L.A.
makes sense.
Yeah, this is when they're in L.A. So
Jesus, man, that's a long drive to work.
And that's why Al Davis wants him so badly, too, because they're
Hometown
in L.A.
boy.
Hometown boy. 91 Raiders. This team, this is Jay Schrader is your starting quarterback. That goofy-looking, wispy-haired, blonde, goofy fuck with a weird chin. They had the 2 weirdest-looking quarterbacks in the world with Schrader and Marinovich. And then skinny as shit old man Vince Evans.
Hell yeah.
A skinny old black man backing up the bright red fucking Marinovich and goofy fuck Jay Schrader.
That's a hell of a lineup.
That's a weird...
That's a nice depth chart.
It's a weird roster of quarterbacks. And they were numbers 11, 12, and 13.
No kidding.
Weird. I find that weird. This was also Roger Craig left the 49ers at this point.
Okay.
Roger Craig's on this team. Marcus Allen's on this team. Napoleon McCallum's on that team. I remember that guy from some games. Vince Evans, like I said. Tim Brown is on that team. Yeah, so this is kind of a...
That's like the beginning of Brown's career.
89 he was drafted, I think. Ronnie Lott is on this team after he left the Raiders.
This is a pretty good team.
Howie Long's still on this team. Bob Golick. There's a lot of older guys on this team signing kind of San Francisco's Super Bowl shrapnel.
Right.
And after that team was starting to come apart there. This team altogether, they go 9-7 there. They do not, they go to the playoffs. The wild card round, they lose to the Chiefs 10-6. We'll talk a little bit about this here because that Chiefs wild card game is an interesting thing. First, there's the rookie party. Okay. Now, every year, apparently, it is a tradition that the Raiders rookies, their first draft pick, has to throw a rookie party. Where he has to throw a giant party for this whole team.
For everybody. He has to pay for it.
All him. It's all on him to do it. So, he has a 3-year, $2.25 million deal with a $1 million signing bonus. That's his deal. He rented a ranch and hired a company that did barbecue on like one of those giant flatbed truck grills. One of those. He turned the barn into a stadium with hay bale seating. Hired strippers, 10 white and 10 black. It's a football team, so you got to have a little everything.
A little progressive.
And for the grand finale, 3 porn stars with double-headed dildos. This is what he's put together for everybody. I've gotten this for you.
That is exactly what I expected.
That's what you expect when you tell a 20-year-old kid, hey, you got to throw a party for everybody. It's got to be good.
I've been to USC. Say no more, fam. I got you.
Booze and double-headed dildos, I suppose? Make a stadium and watch these chicks?
Do you think he was like, I'm going to blow their fucking
How
minds?
scared were those women with these fucking psychopath, screaming, yelling football players? They had to think they're all going to rape us immediately when we're done with this.
No way they want us to do like sex stuff, right? And then they walk in the door and they're like, here's your dildo. What the fuck?
Well, I assume if you're, they're just going to interview the porn stars as,
We're just here to hang out with them.
Yeah, just going to hang out. He says, quote, Todd, quote, they say in the history of the Raiders, it was their best rookie party ever. So
nobody thought of that one yet?
No,
really?
I didn't think of exactly that. Apparently the ranch and all that. It's not just going out to a bar and whatever.
He threw a hillbilly fuck vest.
That's what he did. He threw a crazy, weird, hillbilly eyes wide shut party in a barn.
And they were all like, "This is the best one." That's it.
Great.
That's the best one.
Yeah. He was a backup. He's third string. You're behind Vince Evans on the field, so you might as well party off of it. He says that, he would just party like crazy because he wasn't fucking doing anything anyway. He says he'd arrive at a hotel for an away game. He'd go with the rest of the players to a club, and then when everybody came back to the hotel, he'd go back out. He said, quote, "There were women, raves, and ecstasy and coke. There's all sorts of shit here." He said, the older guys would seek him out just to hear stories of the night before because they knew he was going out and having some crazy epic party.
It's the original Johnny Manziel.
That's exactly what he is, but little more. He's bigger, so it's easier. Yeah, Manziel
with talent, with NFL caliber.
Yeah, that's
talent.
the thing. He's got NFL caliber talent. Manziel never had physical ability.
Anything.
I don't think. Yeah, and then his head was a fucking mess too. Yeah, if you have the physical ability, you can get by for a little while in the NFL. But if you're tiny, you better be the most intelligent, well fucking practiced, hardest working guy on the field.
Most
you're going to get killed.
Coke-free dude on the field,
or the most coked out dude on the field. One of the two.
He tried.
You better have the least or the most coke in your system. One of the two. Nothing in between. So he said that, quote, "The cities just started running into one another." So he was just going crazy. He said sometimes for a hangover relief or even just for a little fun, he'd take a little speed before games, the pills that baseball players take. He said, "I wasn't playing, so the warm-ups were my game. They'd have these great stereo systems in the stadiums. They'd be blasting the Stones or whatever. I'd take some Black Beauties and be throwing the ball 75 yards, running around, playing receiver, fucking around, and then I was done for the day. I never played. Some guys did play on speed, or they mixed it with Vicodin. They could run through a fucking wall and not feel a thing." So, wow. There you go.
I want $3 million to do that.
That's the Raiders.
That's a great party.
That sounds like fun.
That's a hell of a life.
He plays in one game that season, 23 for 40, which isn't bad at all, and he has 3 touchdowns. So
no interceptions.
Very fucking promising. No picks. 3 touchdowns, no picks. Very promising.
On Black Beauties.
They like that. All hopped up on the Black Beauties. He says, quote, "They say in our society, if you reach this, you'll be happy. I was miserable, but couldn't tell you why. Everything around me is falling apart. I have a bank account, millions of dollars, and that's not making it better. What the fuck is wrong with me?" That's what he was thinking.
I would say that's an accurate thought.
He says he would just party a lot. He just kept partying and partying. Problem is, as a consequence for his cocaine arrest, one of the things was drug testing. So the NFL is requiring him to take more frequent urine tests than everybody else because he's got a cocaine bust. So he said he felt he couldn't function socially around the team without at least some weed. So he said, quote, "It just allowed me to be comfortable in this loud, chaotic world, especially the world I was living in. I couldn't fathom being sober." So what he would do is he would keep Gatorade bottles of clean urine donated.
Oh, don't mix those up.
No. One person, I would have. I don't think, "Hey, Bob. Hey, Bill. You guys."
No. I mean, don't mix that up with your Gatorade bottle.
Well, no, that's, you know.
Don't have orange Gatorade.
He never has yellow. Yeah. He only drinks red Gatorade. So, it's better than that cloudy one that looks like jizz.
That white one.
This better be Gatorade. I'll tell you that much. That shit just looks like jizz. And fucking, here you go, 32 ounces of jizz. Who wants a quart of jizz?
We ran it through a strainer.
It's disgusting. That is the grossest. I couldn't force myself to drink that.
It's pretty gross.
I would gag on it. I couldn't do it. So he said, though, he would keep them in his fridge at his townhouse. He had a different non-weed smoking friends would fill up piss bottles for him, and he'd have a bunch in there for future. Like if you were over there and you weren't a weed smoker, he'd be like, "Piss in this Gatorade bottle if you have no drugs in your system, because I'm going to fucking need it." So he kept that all season long. He had this routine. He'd pour the refrigerated piss into a small sunscreen bottle, a little squirty sunscreen bottles, go to practice, put the bottle in a cup of coffee and leave it in the locker room to warm up while he's attending a meeting. He'd come back, stash the bottle inside his shorts. You know, they have
Keep
like
it
the
warm,
tight,
right?
the fucking like
compression pants.
There you go.
Yeah.
He'd put them in there, right, you know, beneath his dick.
Right.
And then he said usually he'd ask the supervisor to turn the water on in the sink so he could get going.
Sure.
And he said then he said he got it down to a science.
Wow.
Where he knew exactly how to do it. And they weren't like looking at his dick.
Right.
Back then, I
Why
don't
does your
think.
dick say fucking banana boat on it?
Why's your dick yellow and pink? Well, then again, you have red hair. Who knows what the hell that thing looks like? So, yeah, he says, but at one point before the Chiefs game, before the playoff game, he was out of clean pee. So he was like, shit, how did I not store more pee? I have no pee. He said so.
Doesn't keep track of inventory.
He doesn't keep track. He's like, oh fuck, my stock room. The stock room's empty. We got nothing in the back. Fuck.
It's all on back order.
He's
Where's Marv? Marv would have kept this straight.
Looking behind the mustard. He's like, where is it? So maybe this will work. So he says this morning though, one of his former USC teammates was still at his house from the weekend's partying, and he knew this guy didn't do drugs.
Right.
So he's like, fuck yeah, awesome.
Well, why the fuck did he stick around?
Well, the problem is, he said, awesome, fill this up. But what he didn't realize is this guy'd been playing at USC, and since Saturday after the game, this guy's been doing nothing but drinking for 2 days.
Booze is going to be in there.
Yeah, well, it turns out his urine sample had a blood alcohol level of 0.32, which is 4 times the legal limit,
Right.
and really way too much booze to have in your system.
You should know, looking at a man that's 0.32, you should know.
He didn't even think.
That's not going to work.
He didn't think like it's too much. He just thought booze is fine, drugs are not.
Oh, boy.
It's fine. So he says, Todd says, quote, they're like, this guy is a fucking full-blown alcoholic. The team said, they made me check into Centellia Hospital in Inglewood for alcohol detox, and I hadn't even been drinking. So he got there, and they were like, you got a detox. He's like, all right. He's just sitting there like, cool.
I'm all detox.
I'm
guys.
fine. I got nothing. Yeah. He's like, I have no booze in my system. He said the team left without him, and he flew to the game later on for the Chiefs. This time, though, the Chiefs he had a shit game. He threw 4 picks and fumbled in a playoff game.
Oh, Jesus.
And they lost to the Chiefs in a low scorer. So that's not terrific.
No.
Not at all. They lost 10-6. So they scored fucking.
The Chiefs were even bad. Like, how do you get 4 picks?
I think Steve
and not
DeBerg
turn
was
that
their
in-
quarterback
Yeah,
back then. It was pretty.
You get 5 turnovers, and you win by 4 points.
I think Steve DeBerg was their quarterback.
What a shit team.
That's your Christian Okoye, 91.
Yeah.
That's after his big run. I think Barry Word was there probably.
That's just a bad team.
That's bad. But like you think about their defense, they had Neil Smith, they had Derek Thomas.
Well, that's why they got picks and turnovers.
Yeah, that's why they were doing
Jesus.
great there. But he said he after the season he was sent to rehab, and he said, and he didn't take it that seriously though. He said, quote, the Raiders sent me. I was definitely not ready for rehab then. Not too many 21-year-olds are. I was in a 45-day inpatient treatment, and I couldn't wait to get out. I was surrounded by all these old guys who were, well, the same age I am now. Obviously, this is a later interview. He said, I sat around the circle going, yeah, thanks for the horror stories, but what happened to you isn't going to happen to me. And then it did, and worse. Foreshadowing.
Thanks for the horror stories, but I've never drank anything.
Oh, yeah. Well, let's talk about it, because it's a fucking toboggan ride down a slick slope from here, man. It's all been set up. Now it's time to knock it down.
Okay.
January 1992. First of all, this is light, but an arrest warrant is issued after he fails to appear for an arraignment on a misdemeanor disturbance charge stemming from a Halloween party at his home.
Oh, Jesus.
So he's just not listening to that. Whatever, that's fine. He's 22 and he's living on the beach having parties. What do you expect? So the 92 Raiders, they go 7-9. Not a great, not a great season for them. They do not make the playoffs. They began the season 0-2, which is really not good, with Jay Schrader at quarterback, and then they put Marinovich in.
And they went 7-7
because they can't get any worse.
Right.
His first start, he throws for 395 yards,
Jesus,
which isn't bad, but they still lose the next 2. They start out 0-4, and then he wins the next 3 of 4 games.
Okay.
So they're starting to like Marinovich here. He has a great game against Buffalo, where they win 20-3. That was a good. Buffalo was a nasty team, and they went to the Super Bowl that year. So they beat Buffalo 20-3. Then they start against the Eagles, and his first 10 passes, 3 of them are picks.
Ouch.
The week after that,
Jesus,
not great, and
inconsistent as fuck.
Inconsistent as shit. So then they give Schrader the job back the next week, and Marinovich never played in the NFL again.
Wow.
Never got another throw.
He got
in the
5
NFL
games,
again.
6 games.
That's it. Grand total. Well, that year he played in 7 games.
Okay.
He was 81 for 165, 49.1% completion, which is not okay. No. And then, not good. 5 touchdowns, 9 picks.
Eesh.
So total 8 career games, 50.7 completion percentage, 8 touchdowns, 9 picks.
That's not good at all.
Not terrific, as you might imagine.
Even if you're Brett Favre.
Then you could have had Brett Favre, who played for 38 years and then went to the Hall of Fame.
That's a great Wrangler commercial.
Jesus, and a bad dick pic.
Yeah.
So the Raiders hold an intervention for him at the end of the season. They said that's when he spends the 45 days in rehab. By 92, after the whole drug test debacle, he said it's so much easier if I just do acid after games.
What?
I'll just do LSD because that doesn't show up on drug tests. It doesn't show up on piss tests. They have to do a hair thing for that. Those are super expensive and they're not standard testing. That's, for specialized shit. That's his coaches said that they were complaining to him that he wasn't grasping the complex offense.
I would say so.
You're tripping. How are you supposed to grasp shit? Maybe you'd grasp it better though. I just see those lines and those X's and O's, man, and they're 3D.
Right.
I just see it happening right now.
He sees daisies growing at the 50-yard line, guys. Fuck the playbook.
It's beautiful in here, isn't it? What? It's fucking winter in Cleveland. No, it's terrible outside. It's muddy and these people are fat.
Why
this
am
is
I
awful. What am I
sweating
doing
so
here?
much?
Yeah. Jesus Christ. Why? So 92, he fails his second NFL drug test and goes back to rehab. His agent, though, that denies all charges.
Yeah.
This is some silver-haired, middle-aged shit right here. His agent, Tom Condon, who's a big agent, he says, quote, Todd and I just got off the phone. He indicated to me that he has not failed any drug test, which is a lie. He failed the one before the Chiefs game, that he had not, and that he has not been to any rehab program, but that he is continuing with the counseling that he has been getting. The counseling is voluntary on his part, and he initiated it himself. Where it got started, the rumor they're talking about the drug test or anything else, I can't really tell you. He just said that he's been feeling great and that workouts were going really well. He said until this happened, he was feeling really great. He said to me, quote, gosh, this is just old news. I wish they would stop dredging it out. Gosh. He said to me, golly gee willikers. Fucking.
He's a Jeezel Pete.
Jeezel Pete's. I don't even know. They wonder, is there a legal issue because he's got probation for the drugs and drug. He said that apparently the probation office found that there was merely a rumor. There was no proof to substantiate the allegation. The one person in the probation office said, quote, I don't know who started the ugly rumor, but I'm glad he completed the program and I wish him the best. So they said they couldn't find any fire with that smoke there. So he did acknowledge, though, that he still uses alcohol. He says, quote, I still go out and do that, go to local bars as such, bars in Manhattan Beach and Balboa Island. I can't help not to. I don't do it like I used to at USC because I can't. I still have fun. That is one thing I don't want to let it ruin the arrest that he had, ruin having a good time, worrying about who's watching. So I haven't thought about that for a while without saying, screw it. Just go do what you're going to do and be true to yourself. Saying, I don't care what anybody thinks about me.
I live in a beach community. How am I not going to drink?
And I'm a left-handed Raiders quarterback, and you've had Ken Stabler, who is known as the biggest psychopath, partier, drug addict, gambler, lunatic, psycho in the fucking world.
I should be fine.
And he was fine and won you a Super Bowl, I believe. So relax. So, or at least got close a lot. Lost one.
I don't
remember if Stabler got one. So 93 here, in training camp before the 93 season, he fails his third drug test in the NFL. This time it's for weed, and he's suspended for the 93 season. whole season. They released Todd on the final cut down. That way they don't have to pay his salary while he's suspended for a year.
Yeah.
Because the salary cap's going to go into effect the next year and it would fuck everything up. So, he said he was just like, what? He didn't even care at this point. He says, quote, I was like, fuck it. I've been playing my whole life. I'd accomplished my goals. I never said I wanted to play forever. I just wanted to play at the highest level. Even in college, it felt like the shit you had to put up with in order to play wasn't worth it. Those few amazing hours on Sunday were being outweighed by all the bullshit. He's got doesn't give a fuck. He packed up his car. He's got a Land Cruiser that he bought when he got his bonus there. Drove to Mexico to camp on the beach and surf and fuck around and not give a shit. He said, quote, I thought I had a ton of money.
Yeah.
Which he didn't.
No.
But
you don't.
At the time, he went, that seems like a lot.
In your 20s?
That'll
Are you
go
out
far
of
in
your fucking
Mexico.
mind?
Yeah, you have to, life is long.
He's read one too many cowboy movies or books and thought 30 grand would last forever there.
This is like, I think he just read like some beatnik hippie shit from the 60s. And it's like you just get in your car and you go, man. And you just live and you smoke weed on the beach. Bro.
Dipshit.
It's fine.
What a dummy.
So 1994, his suspension's lifted, and the Steelers show a little bit of interest in him. Okay. They give him, send out a little bit of feelers, but he announces that he does not like the culture of the NFL and does not want to return to the league and is not interested.
Who are you, Bob Costas? You don't just fucking play, you dick.
If I'm this guy though, I think I can maybe understand just going, dude, I just don't feel like doing this anymore.
I don't know.
But you need a job,
right?
What are you going to do?
That's what I'm looking at.
You're going to make money.
The pay structure alone is more than any fucking day job he's qualified for.
Well, he ends up signing with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers of the CFL.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he never actually plays on the roster. He blows his knee out on the first day of training camp.
Oh boy.
And he just sits there the whole time.
Ouch.
And watches games from the sideline with a blown out knee.
Wouldn't it be better to watch NFL games than CFL
That's what I mean.
games?
Yeah, either way you're going to be watching it. The Steelers weren't looking at you as a starter. They had Neil O'Donnell and Tom Zach back then, and were both half decent. O'Donnell's a goofy fuck, but he was all right. So during this injury rehab, he discovers something new.
What is that?
Heroin.
Oh no.
He discovers heroin. And starts doing it quite a bit. He discovers
Canadians are too nice.
Black tar heroin,
yeah.
And he likes it.
Uh-oh.
It's a good feeling for him, and he separates from the world and he digs it.
Okay.
He says. Then there's a time where he has a problem here.
Yeah.
So from about 95 into 96, he's having problems with this shit. He's doing heroin. He's hanging out at the beach.
Yeah.
He's partying. He's not up to anything productive. He says he gets into pickup basketball to rehab his knee a lot, just playing pickup games of ball on the beach.
Yeah.
He said there's a low rim that they dunk on and have a good time on and all that shit. So one time in 96, a friend of his, who was a big guy, 275-pounder, hurt his back on a play in basketball, and they had to kind of drag him back to Todd's apartment or Todd's house there. And they lay him down in bed, and he asked Todd, do you have anything to help with the pain?
Fuck, yes, I do.
If you're an athlete, he goes, yeah, you got a painkiller or something.
Spoon.
Well, what he does, he said he went to get his stash of Mexican black tar heroin that he had. He said, quote, I fixed myself first. I remember it being strong stuff, so I just gave him a fraction of the amount. So he gave this guy heroin. He injected this guy with heroin, which if you're this guy, like, I'm not in that much pain. Put your needle away. Jesus Christ. You got a fucking Advil, bro?
I meant Aleve, bro. What is
Christ.
this?
So he said he went outside, gave the guy the heroin. He went outside, smoked a cigarette on the front porch, and then came back to check on this dude. And Todd says, quote, he's frothing from the mouth. He's fucking blue.
Oh my God.
So
he
this
just overdosed his friend.
Yeah, he overdosed this guy. So he said he ran outside and got the garden hose. He said, which was easier than lugging Valdez to the shower, which was his friend. He said when that didn't help, he started smacking him in the face as hard as he could. He said, quote, I'm fucking hitting this guy with everything I've got, and I swear I could see his spirit struggling to leave his body. And I don't tell this story much. People think I was hallucinating, but on heroin you don't hallucinate. You do not fucking hallucinate on fucking heroin. In case you were wondering. That's a quote from Todd.
Todd Marinovich said,
you do not fucking hallucinate on fucking heroin.
That should be one of those, like,
law.
motivational.
Yeah. I want a poster of Todd in his methier days later on when he's looking real poor with that fucking quote under it.
I want it on fucking game day. That's the picture I want.
Oh, that'd look great, yeah.
Him holding his helmet under his arm.
Looking all...
And it just says, you do not fucking hallucinate.
You do not.
On fucking heroin.
He says, quote, the only way I could describe it was like when you see heat waves on the beach, when the heat waves eddy up and warp your vision, like a mirage. Yeah. He said it was like that and it was colorful. I actually saw it, the life force or whatever, as it would leave the top of his head. And he's become this flesh bag. And I would smack the shit out of him and I would actually see it coming back into him. Wow. So apparently
becoming a flesh bag.
That was a crazy quote. So he said most of his friends scattered, and then one friend was left, and Todd was yelling while he's smacking the shit out of this guy, call fucking 911, and he's smacking this guy. So the other guy...
I guess, like, sharpening a hacksaw. Oh, you want 911? All right,
my bad. All right, yeah. Sorry. I was going to
take care of this.
I completely missed... I was going to oil a chainsaw, but okay, never mind. So don't prepare the tub?
No.
Okay. Fine.
Pick up all these Glad bags? Is that what you want?
That's what Never mind. So he said the other guy cleaned up the syringe and the drugs and all that sort of shit, and the dispatcher told Todd how to do CPR. The paramedics arrive with sheriff's deputies because it's a drug issue.
Right.
Now, the day before this... Todd had helped his buddy harvest a marijuana crop.
Oh, no.
And as a thank you, he got a trash bag full of it.
Oh, Jesus.
As a payment. It said it wasn't even bud. It was just like the trimmings, like leaves and shit, but shit you could smoke if you're desperate. Sure. And this is the 90s, so this is not legal weed. Everybody now is like, so what?
Right.
90s, even at the beach in California, you couldn't have a garbage bag full of weed. You're just not allowed.
To say no.
Yeah. I guess he stashed the bag in his garage with his surfboards and shit and totally forgot that it was there because he had other weed and this shit wasn't that great anyway. So he didn't really think about it. He says as the paramedics wheeled him out, one of the deputies came into the room holding the trash bag. And I guess the deputy asked him, where are the plants? Where's the plants? This is the trimmings. Where's the fucking plants? Right. And he said, I'm not a grower. And he said he tried to explain, see, there was this buddy of mine, and they ended up, then another deputy came in carrying 2 half-dead weed plants that he had in his laundry room with a drugstore. They call it a drugstore variety grow light in this article. He just had a light with 2 plants in his room. So he's going, no, I'm not a grower. See, there's this pal of mine, and they're like, why you have 2 plants? Right. Let's go, asshole. He's charged with felony marijuana cultivation.
Oh, no.
Which, if you grew 2 plants on the beach in California now, and nobody would care.
No.
The chief of police would go, that's a nice plant you got there, son, and he'd keep walking. Nobody gives a shit. Totally fine. But back then, marijuana cultivation, felony.
Unbelievable.
He serves 2 months in jail for this later on.
Oh, no.
We'll talk about here. 97, he pleads guilty to growing marijuana and misdemeanor possession of a controlled substance and possession of a syringe, because they find that shit. So, 2 months in jail and a third at a minimum security place called The Farm, which is like kind of a workplace or whatever. But
there was strippers and double-sided dildos.
Oh, there's hay bales. And it was wild.
It was a good time.
10 white, 10 black. That's how they did it. So, 1999, April, he's cleared to re-enter the NFL because he's had these arrest problems with drugs. So his status kept going away, and then they would even though he wasn't even trying to play, they would suspend him and reinstate him.
Wow.
It's stupid. But he ends up, suffering a herniated disc while he's playing basketball, just out on the beach.
Neck or back?
Back, I think.
Okay.
So that summer, though, he tries out for and gets kind of a couple of feelers from the Chargers and the Bears.
Okay.
So he's, kind of looking to come back to football after he hasn't played in 6-7 years.
He almost killed a guy.
But he failed the physical both times because of his back. So June 8th, 1999, let's see. He's already been shit canned from the Raiders.
Right.
So where do you go from there? Where's the only place that'll take you when the Raiders don't want you?
The CFL.
Oh, Canada, you'll take our piles of shit. Our criminal athletes come to your shores and hit your women. And never mind. Okay. So.
And do your drugs and fuck everyone inside.
And spread AIDS, because that's one guy did that too.
He did.
Yeah, so sorry, Canada. We've really, Robert Rozier went up there acting like a lunatic. We have given way too much to you. All you gave us was Ion Crotoru. Really not that bad. Coming down shirtless in his Jeep.
You've given us nice things, and we just
We give you
this
shit.
Is like a bad Christmas exchange every
this
year.
is bad.
We just keep giving you shit in a box.
Here's our guy. Here's our Johnny Manziel's that we don't want.
Right.
We already had a Johnny Manziel, and it was broken real easy, so we just got rid of it.
Can we give your Celine Dion citizenship?
Jesus Christ, we don't want it. We'll give it back. So he signs with, in June, he signs with the British Columbia Lions here. They sign him, so Western Canada out in BC, 1-year contract. This is after he spent his time in jail. He dresses for all 18 regular season games and 1 playoff game, but never plays.
Never throws a ball.
Never throws a ball. Just sits there and watches. Dresses and watches.
Watches the daisies grow at the 50-yard line.
That's it. They released him in 2000. That was that. He said his routine, Jesus Christ. Let's do it in their own words. We need to do it in their own words here, because this one is, you don't hear people saying this kind of shit very often.
Great.
In their own words, quote, "The day before every game, we would do a walkthrough in the dome. That was my day for needle exchange. All my years of being a dope fiend, the hardest part was always getting needles. I was getting good coke and really pure heroin and combining them. That's all I wanted to do. I woke up, fixed, went to practice. Thank God I was just backing up. I was just a clipboard guy playing the opposing quarterback in practice." So he's fucking doing heroin before games and practices.
Wow.
He's just hanging out doing heroin. That's his job, doing heroin. He said one time at halftime during a home game, he got a pre-made rig out of his locker and went into the bathroom to shoot up at halftime.
Unbelievable.
He said he was sitting in the toilet, half listening to the coach talk about what they're going to do.
Right.
And he's like, okay, so
tell me more about the running plays.
So we're going to go more to the right side, and he's literally fucking tying off.
Unbelievable.
It's crazy, man. He says that as the team was leaving the locker room for the second half, he said he struggled. He struggled with the screen in his crack pipe, and he wasn't getting a good hit. So then the pipe broke, and he cut his left thumb. So he comes out on the field. He's smoking crack in the team bathroom. He gets out on the field with his thumb wrapped in a towel, and the game already started.
Unbelievable.
And he's wasted with his thumb wrapped up from a crack pipe wound.
He's bleeding from a crack pipe wound.
We've never had a crack pipe wound.
No.
This is a CIS first.
Yeah.
Everybody, a crime and sports original first. Never had a crack pipe wound.
Or heroin
Wow.
doing at halftime.
Jesus
Shooting
Christ.
heroin at halftime.
That's insane. He said that he just took his clipboard and he said, I didn't even know what play they were calling. Nobody looked at the shit I wrote anyway.
Oh boy.
He just hanging out in a uniform. He didn't care.
Drawing pictures.
He said at the end of the season the team had a party and he was, quote, gouged out of my mind. He said that he was somewhere between a nod and full-on slumber. He said at that point he dropped to 176 pounds. He said, quote, I was a celibate heroin monk. I would go downtown, cop, come back to my pad, and not leave till the drugs were gone. There was no furniture in my place, just a bed and a TV. I wasn't eating. I spent a lot of time in this Astro minivan I had. I'd just climb into the back and fix. My life revolved around dope and my dog.
What happened?
What the fuck is going on?
Don't feed your kid's kidney.
Never.
Oh my God.
Don't stretch their hamstrings.
That's
just
a
let them.
gateway drug.
Wow, kidney's a gateway drug. Yeah, that's what you could say. Fuck it. He said that at the party for the team, the GM saw him and comes over to him and he's like, "This isn't going to be good." The GM shakes his hand and said, "I know we signed you for 1 year with an option for another year." He said, "We'd love to pick up that option."
Oh no.
Todd said, quote, "You have to be fucking crazy. I can't stay here." He said, "No, I'm not staying here.
This is going to kill me."
That's what he said. He said, "I'm not fucking, no." But he's like, "Why are they picking up my option? I'm smoking crack in the bathroom."
You've been so great with the heroin on the stall. We can't do it without you.
He said, I'm doing nothing. He said, I'm writing down gibberish and jamming heroin in the bathroom, and they want to re-sign me for some reason. And you wonder, too nice. That's why we say that. So, 2000, he is signed to another team. He is signed to the brand new, at this point, expansion Los Angeles Avengers of the Arena Football League. Yeah, that's why they signed him, because they're an expansion team in Arena League, and they need a couple people to come out, and you don't get a bigger freak show than this.
Yeah.
So, I mean, either way, it's going to be entertaining.
Yeah.
He might come out on heroin and stumble and fall down before he gets to the huddle, or he could throw 5 touchdowns.
People
you never know.
will see it.
They're going to see it. So he actually had a goddamn good season for that because it's the Arena League, and he's still good.
And he's on fucking heroin and coke and
wait till you hear.
That game is fast paced.
Oh yeah, he needs it to slow down a little bit. He threw he set a single game touchdown. He set a single game record at one point by throwing 10 touchdowns against the Houston Thunder Bears in a game. 10 touchdowns.
That's a lot.
In 2000 he was 168 for 296 with 45 touchdowns and 9 picks. Wow. For the Avengers. Yeah, he was named to the all-rookie team and the next year, he's named the Avengers franchise player.
Yeah.
They say, you're going to be our franchise player at that point that year.
Guy on heroin.
A guy on heroin. So they give him his signing bonus. And the very next day, he is arrested.
Oh no!
Yeah, they give him his signing bonus. This is this is how he ends up off the team. But I'm kind of going out of chronology here. But they give him his signing bonus, and he takes it and is immediately arrested for buying heroin.
Of course.
He says in April 25th, 2000, though, while the first year when everything was fine, he's arrested at the team facility on April 25th after he's arrested for sexual assault.
Oh no!
Yes, he is arrested. The police say the incident took place at his apartment. The Marina Del Rey Sheriff's Station was contacted by a hospital who said a 19-year-old woman accused him of having forced her to have sexual intercourse. They called the deputies. The woman was examined. He denies the charge. He said sex was consensual.
Okay.
I don't know how he knows any different. He thought a soul was leaving a man's body and he could watch it come back in. But the team, they're fine with it. This is how silver this team is. Silver-haired, middle-aged white men. This is, quote, Todd has been, is now, and will be a part of this football team. He just got charged with sex. You have no idea. In respect to the law, we have to let it run its course. So until he's in prison, he's going to be throwing touchdown passes for us.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. He said about his whole time with this team, quote, I was strung out on heroin, living paycheck to paycheck, and I was not in any way a useful part of the team. Other than throwing shitloads of touchdowns. Right. So, otherwise he was a fucking disaster. He, eventually though, in June of 2000, he ends up being, the charges end up being dismissed. So, there was, I guess, 7 people over there that night. There was kind of a little party. Everybody was, interviewed. And, one of the women who were there said that she saw the woman had been drinking. Everyone was drinking. And she said the woman consensually entered Marinovich's bedroom and she didn't see any evidence of rape. So, so they were like, yep, never mind.
That's the
he could have said, let me show you something. I mean, you don't know.
He could have been in there with Coke or more drinks, and she's going to look for it.
Let me show you my fucking
Heisman.
My Dial High School Player of the Year award. It's pretty cool.
Anything.
And then, that means nothing.
Wait, he didn't win the Heisman, did he?
No, he didn't. Absolutely. He was up for it, but sophomore year they were talking
Berkeley
about it.
And
Didn't work out. Yeah, they did. Yeah, exactly. So the prosecutor then said that later on when they dropped the charges, the prosecutor said that the woman behaved in ways, quote, not inconsistent with someone who had consented to sex. Okay, that's very vague. Quote, there was no call for help even though she had dependable girlfriends right outside the door. The complaint said Marinovich never threatened her or used force against her. She said that Todd had witnesses who said the woman was openly flirting with Todd and engaging in sexually suggestive behavior and conversation. He said, quote, this is the prosecutor, based on the ambiguity of the complainant's behavior, Marinovich had a plausible defense that he reasonably believed the victim was consenting to sexual intercourse. So that's, he said their attorney said, yep, we agree.
Yeah.
Fucking, Marinovich's, he said, quote, I figured they were doing a thorough job, and they are.
Yeah, because they're getting off.
Yeah, the owner of the Avengers said, quote, I could not be happier for Todd. This is all behind him, and he can get back to concentrating on what's important, and that's making me fucking money.
Right.
Which is what he said, and that's winning football games.
That's what he said in public. And back, he said, that dirty whore.
Yeah, exactly.
How dare she?
That's a really...
Wow.
That's a tough one, because that's who knows what happened? We have no idea, and there's no way to know. And if you're
she may have been a terrible person just trying to get money from somebody.
You never know.
But the other point is,
he might have fucking forced him. But
he doesn't have any money.
That's the other thing. But she doesn't know that maybe too. You don't know what the fuck happened in there. If you're the prosecutor, that's a it's a tough one to prosecute because all you have is this woman, and she's not saying that. It's just a tough one. Right. It's a tough one from a legal standpoint. Right. Morally, maybe not, obviously, or whatever. Just, but from a. And it might be, it's even cloudy there. Who knows? We don't know what happened. So it's really hard. But you never want anybody to. No. That's rough.
Don't go into a bedroom with guys.
Yeah, don't do that. No. Don't do that.
Because you never know if you're going to get justice or not.
You don't know. Todd says, quote, I'm very grateful that the district attorney's office, after reviewing the facts of this matter, have elected to not bring any charges whatsoever. The system is designed to protect the innocent, and that's exactly what it did. I want to thank the entire Avengers organization for sticking by me and believing in me. Yes. So, they keep him. Now, they gave him his signing bonus in 2001. Like I said, it was $30,000. He had $30,000 cash in an envelope after he got his signing bonus. And that day, he's busted buying heroin with $30,000 in cash in an envelope.
He went right now.
He went, cashed his check, and went to buy 30 grand. Now they kept him anyway. Yeah. He ends up going 81 for 176 with 17 touchdowns, 12 picks that year. Not quite the same year here. He was ejected in consecutive games.
Wow.
Toward the end of the season for throwing a clipboard and a hand towel at referees. Then finally he was just suspended from the team in the second year there. He's a fucking mess. Yeah. He can't hang out even in the Arena League. He says, quote, I realize now it's life or death for me. When I was in my addiction, I did something every day for it. I scored drugs. That's what I have to do today, to go to lengths like I did before, but now in a positive way. So he's having issues, clearly. 2004 comes around. He's broke. He's living on the Balboa Peninsula over there. He's got nothing, though, is the thing.
He's in an Astro van.
Yeah, he's hanging out just kind of hanging out around the beach, dicking off. He would do that sort of thing. He'd hang out. He'd stay at friends' houses. A bunch of them are junkies, hang out with other junkies.
Fuck.
They even said even when he was at a terrible low place with his whole thing, they said he was still a good house guest. Like he was a polite guy, didn't steal from people and shit. Like he wasn't a piece of shit in that direction. Right. He was just a disaster to himself. Right. And that was that.
Self-saboteur.
Yeah, absolutely. He said that he didn't go to his family very often because he said he didn't like the way his mother would look at him. He said at some point,
she's trying to figure out where
she's looking
her
at
son
him.
Went.
She's looking at you like she's horrified and wants to fucking save you from dying. That's what she's looking at you like.
Her son's a heroin addict.
Yeah, she said every time she'd go, at some point, his uncle would accuse him of stealing something, and then he would get kicked out, and his mother would change the locks. So that was that. He lost his car and he lost his license. Yeah. So he said at this point he had a hard time scoring heroin, and he couldn't afford it either. Right. So he was having an issue there. So he said, you know what? There's a hell of a lot of speed around this beach, though. Yeah. There's meth everywhere. Yeah. So that's a lot cheaper. Yeah. He said, quote, people were practically giving it away. It's just super cheap. He said he was high and he loved to skateboard. He would get high and skate around. That's all he would do. He said, quote, it was a way to burn off all that energy I had from the meth. Quote, it was like surfing on fucking concrete. I would skate for 8 hours a day. I'd just be carving up and down the street for miles and miles. It was probably the most fun I've ever had on drugs. That and sex. Meth makes you just a fucking perv. It turns normal people with some morals into just fucking sick perverts. And that's all I wanted to do, is look at porn or create my own.
Unbelievable.
This fucking guy is out there, I gotta say. So
he makes meth sound fun as shit, though.
He makes meth sound awesome. You're just skateboarding and fucking and
that sounds great.
That sounds. Who doesn't want to surf on fucking concrete? That sounds amazing.
Carving it up for miles and then fucking. Making porn when I can't find somebody.
I'll just make it.
Yeah.
I make it right on the beach.
Unbelievable.
No problem. On top of my skateboard. So August of 2004, he is arrested in Newport Beach for skateboarding in a prohibited zone. Okay. They find meth and syringes on him.
That's pretty much all of Newport Beach.
It's
a nice place. Get the fuck out of there.
That's what he says. He's not allowed to skate on the boardwalk. Right. There's a lot of problem with cops and skateboarding from this point on here. They do find meth and syringes on him, which is why they bother the skateboarders, because they know that a lot of them are on drugs. They want to take their shit.
Because it's fun.
Yeah, because it sounds like a great time. So sounds fucking fun to me.
Yeah.
I don't know about you. So May of 2005, he's arrested again for skateboarding in a prohibited zone. He pleads guilty to misdemeanor resisting arrest and is sentenced to 18 days in jail and 3 years probation. Now, this is the one, this bust here. He is, basically he's in a public bathhouse down by the beach, firing up there. He's shooting up, and the cops rouse him, and so he fucking takes off on his bicycle.
No, he's got a bike.
He's got a beach cruiser here. He takes off, and they end up finding him about 15 blocks away, and they found his paraphernalia and his toiletry kit and his needles and all shit like that, but no drugs. So one of the cops was an old high school football teammate, which is not good.
Oh my God.
He was the star. He was the guy who's going to be amazing, and now he's pulling him out of a fucking bathhouse with a needle
kit.
And his bindle kit, and he's emaciated, skateboarding on the beach all day, sunburned ginger, sweaty.
You used to play for the Raiders.
Fuck you. Wow. Holy shit. He's charged with violating probation on that one. He gave his occupation on the report as, quote, unemployed artist and anarchist. So
he's out of it.
He's out of it. It's over the edge now. When you put anarchist on your police, report,
you tell your old high school teammate, college teammate.
Yeah, or high school. This was a high school.
Ah, Jesus.
He said that the police report said that his pupils were dilated and his behavior was, quote, erratic. Yeah, because he's
like
fucking
an anarchist.
Like an anarchist who's wasted on heroin. Yeah, one of those, or meth, I should say. Now, 2005. With all these legal problems, he can go to drug treatment, but he has to pay for it or else he can go to jail.
Right.
So 23 of his college teammates put up money to help pay for his drug treatment to help him avoid jail time.
Rock bottom.
Rock fucking bottom.
That should be it.
That's it. Yeah, that should be, this is your final thing, man.
The only way to get help is from everybody else.
Everybody. They put up $4,600, a couple $100 a piece, to enter him into an inpatient program, to get him to go back to jail.
That's like 30 minutes at an inpatient program.
Yeah, this, I guess, I don't know if this was like a
cheap one.
I think if it's court ordered, it's probably cheaper. There's a certain
with the county.
There's a certain rate where then they pick up part of it. I think it's an insurance thing, probably. Okay. He's for the next year, all he is in and out of rehab. Oh, no. Ricky Irvins, the old running back from USC, said, quote, people go through phases. It's a pretty long phase. We're looking at about 15 years of this phase right now. So that's a long one.
That sounds
big
like
phase.
Just him.
He says, quote, people always get mixed up in the wrong things and you just have to be strong enough to find your way out of it. Okay. It's a positive way of looking at it. In September of 2005, despite his friends putting up all this money and all these old teammates and people trying to help him, he walks out of the residential treatment program, violating his probation and his sentence, disappears for 3 weeks before he finally surrenders to the police and is returned to jail. He did this before, too. He disappeared in USC for like 3 weeks one time before the season during the practices, or like 2 weeks, and was suspended and then let back in. He just disappears for a while. Can't take it anymore. He's a mess. He's going back to jail. 2006, he is again arrested. He's charged with felony possession of a controlled substance, and the case was later dismissed after he completed a drug court program. One of those, just, go in for 60 days and then whatever. I don't even give a fuck. Now, he says about this whole thing, it's kind of time to take stock. Yeah. He says, quote, because of being someone in the public's eye, all my stumbles throughout my journey have been through national eyes and national news, and it's hard for people to relate with that. It's tough for anybody that's struggling because only their close friends know about it and their family knows about it, and in my case, it was extremely hard, and for years it drove me deeper because the media coverage of it. It just brought that much more shame and guilt. Yeah. Which I can imagine.
Old boy needs a couple of kids.
Yeah. Just hold on.
Oh, no.
Hang in there, Chief.
Jesus.
Hang in there. He's broken other rules. Yeah. You don't think he's going to break any more rules? Come on now. He's got at least... Well, he's already home. Yeah. He's got at least 2 more rules I know. 3 more rules I know of that he's going to break. That he's absolutely going to break. Now... August 2007, he's arrested and charged with felony drug possession and resisting a police officer after being stopped Doing what? Skateboarding. Where? Newport Boardwalk. Again, same shit. Early morning. This is in a West Oceanfront parking lot. He was skateboarding in a prohibited area. He took off on the skateboard and then picked it up and ran when he was approached by the police. He's a runner.
It's like an 80s movie.
Yeah, it totally is. I'm out of here. High stepping it out of here. Fucking Christian Slater gleaming the cube here.
Smacking the back of it and flipping it up and catching it.
Come on. With his fingerless glove on. So he says, quote, one cop started running at me. The other one's crossing the boulevard trying to head me off. I popped off my skateboard, dropped my guitar case, and fucking ran down the alley. One of them yelled, Todd, freeze. Okay. Right there. Right there.
That is amazing.
Right there.
First name basis.
If you are just cops scream, you're doing something, you run and they go, hey, Todd. Bad sign. Yeah. They know you're on a first name basis with cops. Todd, we know it's you. Come on, Todd.
Don't make me run, Todd.
Jesus Christ, Todd. Todd, freeze. That's amazing. I laughed so hard when I found that in the research. I'm like, they knew his fucking fur. They knew. That's great.
Just on sight. I mean, he's a
6'4"
ginger on a skateboard that looks methed out.
A methy skateboarding 6'4" ginger.
Yeah,
He's going to stand out.
We know him.
And he's famous too.
We've heard of him.
We know of him. He said, one of them yelled, Todd, freeze. I heard pop, pop, pop. I thought they were fucking shooting. Yeah. He says, it was a taser. They were tasing him. They said the projectile embedded itself in the lower part of his backpack. There. He said, my leg started spasming, but it wasn't too bad. I just kept running.
Oh, God.
He's on meth. You got to hit him like 4 or 5 times on meth. He said he ended up on a second floor balcony. He said, I saw the fucking light come on and a guy came out and looked at me and shut the door real fast. I was like, oh, fuck. He's a disaster. Oh, my God. Is that Todd Marinovich on my porch? I better close that shit. What a goddamn mess. By then, there were helicopters with spotlights, and he could hear the dogs all around. They had dogs and everything. This is for the very little thing.
For skateboarding.
It's Todd. Right. Just get him next time. Right. It's Todd. You know it. Just
we'll
go.
Up to him tomorrow.
Todd will be around. Right. We'll find him. Then he said, quote, that's when I gave up. I've seen too many people come into fucking jail tore up from dogs. So I just laid down on the fucking ground and they found me. He says fuck in the funniest way to me. He says it he puts it in a certain place.
The context is fun.
Yeah, he didn't say, so I just fucking laid down on the ground, because that's what most people would say. He says, I just laid down on the fucking ground and they found me. Like, everything's like this. Seen too many people come into fucking jail, torn up. I've seen too many people come into jail all torn the fuck up from the dogs. That's how normal people would say it, or fucking torn up from those dogs. He says, come into fucking jail. The fucking comes before the noun always. Right. Usually fucking's a verb thing. Like, I fucking went over there. Right. He says, the fucking jail, fucking dog, it's fucking ground, fucking jail. Hold on. Fucking light. I found his speech pattern. He fucks before. No, what fucking ran? He fucking ran down the alley at one point. So he'll go in.
His usage of fuck is very California.
It's fucking bro, dude. He talks
like that guy Kai, that homeless guy Kai that smashed a dude in the head with a hatchet. Viral video. Yeah. He talks like that guy.
Jesus Christ. So he had a guitar case that he said he dropped. That contained speed and a spoon and syringe.
You knew that.
So that's not good here. He ends up having to plead guilty of methamphetamine, syringe possession, and, of course, resisting arrest. They place him, prosecutor places him on 5 years probation.
Oh, shit.
And he's ordered to spend 1 year at a drug rehabilitation center.
That's a steep one.
That's a long time.
That keeps you in the system, because there's no way he's completing that.
No, that's so fucking long. So he's sent there. There is a period of, from all we know, sobriety from 2007 to 2008. Okay. He works with the National Drug and Alcohol Treatment Centers, which are located in Newport Beach. He helps young athletes overcome addiction and stay clean. So he's doing well. In August 2008, after a year of sobriety, he's hired as a lecturer by Newport Coast Recovery, which is a drug and alcohol treatment facility in Newport Beach. So now he's like Mr. Counselor.
Right.
He's turned into.
That's a good way to write out that 5.
It's a good way.
Being a part of this, of the
try
solution.
to. So April 4th, 2009, he's arrested again.
Oh, no.
So it didn't last.
It didn't
long.
work.
None of this. It'll all be. He's up and down. He's arrested in Newport Beach again after he fails to appear in court for a progress review in his rehab related to the 2007 skateboarding incident. There, he's ordered to be held in jail without bail for another month till the hearing is till May 4th. So. He's sent to rehab.
Yeah.
So I would say he's pretty fucking close to the worst he could be. He's got no money.
Nothing.
He's getting older. He's a fucking meth head who runs from cops on the beach.
On the fucking beach.
It's on the fucking beach. He runs from fucking cops on the fucking beach.
Right.
It can't get any fucking worse, is what I'm saying. So what does he do at this point?
Yeah.
He fucking gets married.
No.
He gets fucking married. That's what he does.
Is she a drug addict?
Broke the rule.
Did he meet her in rehab?
Guess where he met her? Rehab.
Hell yes.
Fucking rehab.
That is going to be the best sex you've ever heard through the walls of that extended stay hotel.
Yep. He asked her out while they were in rehab, which even she said was not
It's
normal.
against the rules.
It's against the rules,
Right.
and also just kind of weird.
Right.
We're all here for something.
Right.
But they are quickly married.
Oh, no.
And in 2009,
No.
they have a son.
No.
He needs a child, Jimmie, in this world. You know what they named the son?
No.
It's not Todd.
Okay.
You were scared
if
there.
They raised that baby in a crack house like Lion King.
God.
Oh,
Jesus Christ.
All the crackheads kneeling. And,
There he is.
Sylvania!
He's bright white, fucking glowing with his red hair sticking out. Everyone's like, oh, God, blood shielding like it's the sun. No, they name him Baron instead.
It's kind of a cool name.
It's better than Todd.
Yeah, it is.
Say
it really
that.
is.
Yeah. So May of 2010, he says he's sober.
Yeah.
And he is scraping barnacles off of boats for $40 each.
Oh, Jesus.
Not per barnacle, per boat.
Per boat.
$40 a boat.
$40 per barnacle is better than NFL salary.
That'd be great. No, this is
$40 a boat is brutal.
His hands and his knuckles, everything is scraped raw all the time
They're all
because he's busted up because it's hard work, but he likes it. He said he said it gets energy out.
Hell yeah.
He said if he doesn't do that kind of shit, he'll do drugs.
That's a job for a meth head.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Literally, get under there and fucking scrape.
Hell
And that's
yeah.
what he does, and he said it helps him get his energy out. Everything he does, he needs $40 a boat. So, what do you think there, Raiders quarterback? $40 sound fair to you? Jesus Christ.
Remember when you shook hands with Al Davis?
Oh, my God. Remember when Ronald Reagan invited him over and didn't remember? So,
Remember when he invited you over? Neither does he.
Neither does he. He didn't 5 minutes later. So, July 11th, July 19th, 2011, they have a daughter.
Oh, my God. Let's
put two
he
kids
did
in
need
this.
a couple of
he
kids.
Needed a couple. That's why I said, give him a second, Jimmie. Calm
he did
down.
Great. He got the boy, then the girl.
Then
this
the girl.
This is real just...
yeah, that's...
It's a statistical family.
It
It's
is.
beautiful.
He names... It's really a dream is what it is. You want all this to happen here. They named the daughter Koski, Koski, named after a dead drug addict friend of Todd's.
What?
Which is a good way to start a child's life.
She's going to go through her whole life with somebody's nickname as her first name.
First name. Oh, no, he's a junkie. My dad knew, so it's cool. Oh, okay. Now, September of 2011, let's take it back. We didn't say this, but Marv, when he got divorced from Trudy, Marv ended up marrying a younger woman and having another son. Having a son named Mikhail or Michael or whatever the fuck, Mikhail.
That's probably Mikhail.
Mikhail has this kid and does the same thing with Mikhail.
No.
Not quite to that extreme, I don't think, but because he
cut out the kidney.
Probably the kidney and maybe, the medicine ball possibly at a young age, things like that. But he trains Mikhail the same way. Mikhail ends up at Syracuse playing football there. He plays all 4 years of football at Syracuse. Doesn't play in the NFL, but he goes to college. He said,
was he a quarterback?
No. I thought he was a defensive end.
Okay.
So Marv said he hopes that the kid knocks the Trojans out when he plays them. And
fuck USC.
Yeah, he said, I'm going to be dressed in all orange, rooting for my boy. So Now, right around this time, the Marinovich Project comes out.
Okay.
This is a documentary on ESPN about Todd and Marvin and building that whole thing. Now, on this, they basically say that obviously there's not enough, obviously it didn't work out, but Todd at this point is still saying what a genius his dad is, and he's just a fuck up. That's why it didn't work. If he would have, not been a fuck up, then it would have worked, because his dad, the training was perfect. I was an NFL quarterback, first round draft pick. Can't argue with that. But everything was fine, and his dad was great, and his childhood was great, and everything's fine. Okay. He's still saying that.
Really?
Yeah, he's still in 2011, 2012. He said, quote, "I've been sober for over 3 years. Art is my main therapy." He paints a lot. His art is pretty cool looking, actually. He's a pretty good painter. He says he even he was making a living. Garden Grove, California, commissioned a $20,000 mural for him to paint. And he did that. He said, "Me and the city have certain reputations. It's true, but I want to go beyond that. I want this to be about art. This piece just feels so right. First time I heard about it, I knew I was the right one for the job. It's one of the biggest things I've ever done." And he didn't say fuck it all in there. So he must mean it.
Cleaned it up.
That's pretty good. He says everything with the way his dad raised him is fine. All is fine. He's good now. Now he's fine. Okay. 2014 is the $20,000 Garden Grove mural. He talks about his wife and 2 young kids a lot. He teaches art and painting to kids at some community center. He's donating his time. He's doing things really well. Everything's going wonderfully. 2015, he's separated from his wife. Okay.
She's had enough of this perfect life.
It's a little weird. The kids live with her in Orange County during the school year. Todd sees them on the weekends and has them for a bunch of the summer. He says, "I survived my addiction, but my marriage didn't," is the way he put it. In February of 2016, they're talking to him about Johnny Manziel.
Oh, good.
They talk about Johnny Manziel's second rehab stint with him, and he's saying it doesn't work all the time. He said, quote, "I had no chance. Does he? I don't know. The only thing I can say is you can't do that alone. You can't do this alone. And if he's struggling to be successful, you have to have a support group around you and be honest with the few people and tell them exactly what's going on." That's his thing there. So he's doing great. February of 2016, he's the the authority to talk to about a fuck up guy. Kind of like
the first Ryan Leaf.
I was gonna say, kind of like Ryan Leaf is doing now, and he did before, and then fucked up, and now he's fine again now. August 19th, 2016. Let's talk about that. Irvine police are called at about 9 p.m. Regarding a, quote, naked person seen on a trail.
Oh, no.
He's doing great, Jimmy. Just great.
You mean Todd? We'll be right over.
Who, Todd? Is he a ginger?
Ginger?
Is it? Oh, no. Is he freckly? Officers were sent to Ventus Spur Trail to investigate, and while looking for him, they heard noises from a backyard off of the road here. So they look over, and they find Todd completely naked in somebody else's backyard who he does not know. This is the second time in crime and sports history this has happened, where Stanley Wilson's kid ended up in a backyard, not knowing what's going on.
In a fountain.
Trying to open the sliding glass door to get inside.
Oh, no.
Imagine seeing a bright fucking white ginger naked dick at your sliding glass door trying to open it. A meth head.
Yeah.
Dude, that is a naked methy fucking intruder ginger is the scariest thing I could ever think of in my life. That's a horror movie happening in front of you. So,
Is this what Jason looks like without the mask? Is this it?
This is it. Without all the big coat and shit. So they don't know him. He's trying to get in there. Now, what they find near him is a brown paper bag containing weed, meth, syringes, and just to make sure you know it's his wallet and driver's license in the bag also. I just want them to know it's mine so they don't take it.
And he got his life together long enough to get a license, for fuck's sake.
But he has no clothes on.
Right.
He put everything in a bag and then was like, I don't need pockets, and just fucking walked out of his house. Why are you naked? Put fucking clothes on.
Yeah.
What do you do? What possibly could make him put all of his stuff in a bag and not have clothes? I don't understand how you had a bag but not pants.
Well, you can't put these. Why is your wallet in with your drugs? That's so easy. Well, do you see where the fuck else would I put it?
Where am I going to put it? That's what I'm saying. I've run out of places to put it. I run out of fucking places to put it. That's why. So he's charged with public nudity, possession of meth, possession of drug paraphernalia, public attempted aggravated trespass of a residence, and trespassing charging with interference of property rights, along with 1 possession of marijuana, which was still a thing there. So what the fuck happened there? Turns out he showed up to pick up his daughter or his kids.
Naked?
No. A few days before that, his ex there, Alex, was convinced that he was using drugs again. She said, "I could tell by the way he looked. His beard was gone and his face looked like a skeleton." So he says 3 days later, he returned the children. She still gave him the kids, though. I think he's on meth, but I'm going to give him the kids. She said he brought the kids back, and he said she insisted that he stay there with the kids for a few days because he obviously needed a place to stay, and he was a fucking disaster. So he stayed until August 16th, which was the day of that incident. He left and then came back the next day. And didn't fucking mention it.
Didn't say a word.
So this is what he was doing. He was staying with his ex-wife and his kids, and then he left naked with his shit in a bag, took off, got arrested, came back to the house and was like, "Oh, I'm back now."
Oh boy.
Never fucking mentioned it. It's so weird.
He walked in naked.
They were with a bag. She said that she says, quote, "When he is clean and sober, he's a wonderful dad, but is haunted by his addiction. He seems to self-sabotage. He feels it isn't deserving of love and having good things happen to him. His biggest worry is that people will judge him." Well, they have judged him, and that's the problem. So he's goddamn wandering around. He's trying to figure it out. They give him, he's got a place to stay there. They give him a little something to have, and he's sitting there, and he's this is fucking rock bottom, man.
This is pretty steep.
It's bad. And then he hears a knock on the door. And he's like, "Who the fuck is that? Is that hoping somebody, I don't know, maybe they have more meth for me.
Is that my meth dealer?
Is that more meth?" And it's not. It's the Mexican pimp.
No.
And he's standing there, guns blazing. And he says, "How is it you've come to arrive here? Why are you here? I do not understand. You have everything. You have the kidney to suck on as a child. Your father's undying attention.
This is disgusting.
You get to go to the Raiders, which, believe me, in my culture, is the highest honor you can get. It is all of our favorite teams. It is wonderful, but now you have screwed up so much, I cannot even treat you like a man. Instead, I will do what I am, a pimp, so I am going to sell you to another man. I am selling you right now. Here he is." "Hello there, Todd." "I like the fact that you already don't have a shirt on, so we're already right here, Todd. I see you right here. You got no shirt on. You do need to put some pants on if you're gonna. How about this? Why don't you put these overalls on? There you go. Yeah, you're a clean slate. You put the overalls on. You take the tops on. No shirt, Todd. No shirt. Keep the shoes off, and you can skateboard to the ring. You're gonna be a hillbilly, junkie skateboarder, beach person. It's gonna be amazing. You're gonna." Yeah, it's going to be good. And you're going to sexually assault people and shoot up in the corner. It's going to be amazing. Oh, my God. Poof.
You've already been to rehab.
In a poof of pyro
Unbelievable.
and
rock music.
Steroids and heavy bass lines. He's gone. And Todd is very confused, and he's still very naked also. Yes. So January 17, 2017, he's at court for that incident. It was scheduled for December 20th, and then it was arraigned later on. His attorney says he checked into a drug rehab center, and he needed, quote, time to establish communication with his client and all that. So that's why there was a delay. He's like, look, he's in rehab. I can't even fucking talk to the guy. Help me here. So March of 2017, he's in court, and if he can stay clean, he won't have to serve any jail time.
Right.
What you just?
It's easy.
Wow. Okay. We're for the meth and the naked trespassing incident here. He pleads guilty to charges of unlawful public nudity, drug possession, and trespassing, and a bunch of other little ones here. He's sentenced to 90 days in jail. But he can avoid that jail time if he spends 6 months in outpatient rehab facility. And, so also 3 years probation, which is an issue for him. And, so he can't get in any trouble there. So he's on probation. It's a fucking mess. His attorney says he's been in positive, clean spirits. He's been clean and in positive spirits since his arrest. He said, quote, he's in positive and in good spirits, and he wants to be held accountable for what he did. He's looking for, I'm sure that's what he was saying. I really want to be arrested. I want to be arrested naked. That's what I want.
Can you make me just do my time? I've done the crime. I'm responsible.
You know, somebody said, Todd, when they found him in the backyard, they went, Todd, don't make us wrestle you. Come on, Todd. Fuck, dude, you're naked, bro. Jesus, man. So, August of 2017, he is, I guess, there's a divorce going on with his ex-wife and all that sort of thing. But he says that he's doing much better, sober now. He says, quote, my kids are my major motivator for me moving out to the desert to try to change my life. I don't know if I would have done it if they weren't here, but 100% I think kids for somebody that's struggling with the illness is a motivator. Is that enough? No. But seeing them get older so quickly, it was a real blow to me to see that they were just babies and now kindergarten, first, second, third grade. I saw their childhood slipping before my eyes, and I said, I got to do something before I miss it. So, September 7th, 2017, fluff pieces abound.
Oh, boy.
He's doing great. Everything's perfect now. Yeah. Oh my God, he's doing amazing. He's found God now.
Oh,
she's broken another rule. He got married at the wrong time, went home, fucking found God. He's fucking it all up here. Don't get naked outside. All these rules. He said that he's connected with God. He said the best way for me to describe it, and it makes sense to me, but it might not to you, is that the addiction is not about the drugs and alcohol. That's just a symptom of the real problem. The real problem is a separation from oneself. A separation from all the people that love me and a separation from the Creator. You feel isolated and alone, and the solution is reconnecting to the source. So I learned about God in my upbringing, but this is the first time I've actually practiced to improve the actual relationship. Wow. Okay. So he says he has a morning routine. He does meditation and then he golfs.
Oh boy.
He says he golfs like crazy and golfs and golfs and golfs. He said one day, I said, you know what? I think it'd be cool to take a golf lesson. I'm an athletic guy. I have good hand-eye coordination. So I took one golf lesson and was hooked. Not surprising since we all know I have an addictive personality.
Yeah.
He said I would go on the golf course at like 4:30 or 5 in the morning. I was having to wait for the sun to come up, so I got some glow-in-the-dark golf balls, and I'm out there smacking it around, and it was my morning meditation. Walk by myself to where I could just sit and talk to God, and I did that religiously for months. So even when I'm not in the desert and I go to a golf course, there's something special about walking on the grass. I get this kind of sense of ease that the desert first opened my eyes to. At this point, he starts kind of reconnecting with his dad, which is weird. Marv is having a lot of problems. Marv has Alzheimer's at this point and is having some serious issues with memory, and his health deteriorates and deteriorates and deteriorates. It's a brutal thing, man. Marv gets $1,260.20 a month from Social Security and $44.05 from the NFL because he played in one game in 1965. They also get help from a few of the athletes that Marv helped train, including Troy Polamalu sends him money because he helped train him. He was one of his guys there. So September 2017, everything's great. He's going to play football again at 48. He's going to play for the SoCal Coyotes of the World Developmental League. Here are their teams as of right now. That is not a team anymore, the SoCal Coyotes.
Already folded.
Done. I got the Carolina Snipers, the East Georgia Hurricanes, the Georgia Thunder, the Recon Militia. What the fuck that's about. And the Virginia Wildcats, who have a Carolina Panther logo. Yes.
That was 5 teams.
That's it. That's who's playing. On the leagues.
Every week a team has a bye week?
You're off this week, guys, so you're the refs now.
Jesus.
On the league's website, it says, quote, expansion opportunity. Your team could be in the WDFL. Guys, we could have a crime and sports football team.
Hell yes.
We could have the Phoenix Felons. Now, if we could do this, that would be amazing. I don't know how much it costs to run a football team. These guys aren't paid. I know that. They're not paid. It's free. So we'd have to provide equipment. I assume some sort of insurance for a case of death or some shit. But let's do this.
Can they play in just like construction hard hats? Because I'll buy those.
They can play in my yard. It's not that big, but you know what? Do your thing. So, now he says here, quote, gosh, just thinking about it now, I've hit some pretty low spots in my journey thus far, but the arrest in August of last year was a whole new level. He said it was embarrassing for him. He can't wait to play in this game. He said he sat in lockup last August and he sobered up and started to take a serious look at his life. He saw all the things that were embarrassing to him, and he realized it was time to do something else. He said, I didn't have any options anymore. I knew I needed treatment, and that's where it all began. I call it the gift of desperation and the self-loathing of being at the bottom. That's why I'm here at the desert. His sister Tracy says, quote, I ignored the whole thing. Who cares? What is he doing? Get a real job. That's his sister, who is Ferris Bueller's sister. Yeah. His sister Jennifer Gray said, what are you doing? Get a real job. Who cares about Ferris? Fuck him. So yeah, he plays, it is Shadow Hills High School is where they play this game, versus the California Sharks, 7 p.m. on a Saturday, $10 donation at the door. Yeah. So not even required. He threw 7 touchdowns for them on that day. And it was the first football game of any sort, he said, that he's played sober since he was 15 years old. Wow. And they won 73-0.
Holy shit.
73-0.
He got 7 touchdowns. So that means they kicked 1 field goal the whole game.
Kept throwing them. Kept fucking going. Had runners. These players, no players are paid. One of the heads of the league says, quote, they play for the tape, which they play to get on tape to send to these NFL teams with hopes that talent evaluators and paying leagues will give them a shot. He never plays again for the team, despite that great game. One game, great game, never plays again. Both he and the team cite a shoulder injury that keeps him from, because he's 48. Right. It's a lot to be throwing the ball around like that. He says this comeback has very little to do with football, is what the coach of the team says. He says, quote, if there's a relapse, everyone will blame us. We're taking all the risk. Yeah. So he says they are a self-professed faith-based organization. So they're going to put God around him.
He plays in a church league.
That's right. Still sober?
Yeah.
Well, yes, looks like it. My experience with sobriety before was avoiding people and places and things. And if I was in that type of situation where there was drinking, I was missing it and I'd be white-knuckling it the whole time. And that's no way to live. So now I can be around it if it's for a particular reason. And if you do the work, the problem you've been struggling with your whole life, you'll be removed, and you don't have to shy away from the situations that you used to enjoy, like concerts. So he says he knows there's doubters, like, you know,
me and you,
and that sort of thing here. He says, though, he has a playbook now that allows him to respond to life. And that's the deal, and it's all good. He's totally fine. Yeah. He says when he returns to Orange County with his kids, though, he picks up weed again because he says that relaxes him, but it's not. It's illegal. That was never his problem either. That was the other thing, too. He was in a weed legal place. He's like, this is cool. I can just buy fucking weed. Then he says, because he talks about this, he says, quote, I get too worked up with speed. I got to bring it down with smoking a little heroin. Now I'm done. That's chemistry. That's what he would do. March 9th, 2018, test positive for meth.
Oh, Jesus.
Positive for meth. Enters a detox center for a 2 to 3 week stay, but he leaves against the staff's advice on March 16th. Apparently, he had been subjected to some random drug testing, but he came in on his own to the office and told his probation officer, he said, I'm dirty. You know, test me. I've been doing shit. So she sends him to detox for 1 week, but on the 7th day, he takes off. He takes off. They said he was going for a walk and he took off. They said, quote, his probation officer said that he was making no progress and, quote, despite being out on bail and facing custody time, the probationer continues to use illegal substances. March 19th, 2018, arrested again. Oh, no. This is use of heroin. Fails a heroin piss test here. So now it's meth and now heroin too. He said, I've been running from my addiction for years, and it definitely came a time, especially after the arrest and the humiliation that it brought, that I need to get better. He says this every time, and it doesn't work. March 23rd, 2018, he is arrested. Yeah. And he remains again. So that's 3 times in
the first
4
quarter
days.
of 2018.
In March.
In a week.
Yeah. He remains in custody at the Santa Ana men's jail in Santa Ana. This is same city where he played his freshman and sophomore high school years. March 31st, 2018. He's in court, and well, fuck it. You, sir, might as well, may fuck off. 90-day jail sentence for violating probation there. And it was probation still. He's on probation from being naked in the backyard a couple years ago. He gets credit for 8 days served, though. September 2018, he is in the Raiders Oakland Coliseum parking lot signing autographs for the fans. The Raiders stuck him out there. They stick him in a Raiders polo and a hat and stick him out there and go sign some fucking autographs. It's retro.
Oh, boy.
So he's got his kid there, and while he's signing autographs, his kid is being watched by his new girlfriend, who is, remember Larry Smith, his coach in college? Remember his daughter who had a problem? That's who Todd's with.
Oh, no.
Todd's with his coach's daughter who was in high school having a drug problem at the time he was in college having a drug problem.
No.
That's why I brought her up earlier, obviously. So she says, quote, spiritually, he's my equal. That's what she says. I don't know what that means. She was addicted to alcohol, opiates, and cocaine. She said a decade ago she was serving time on a federal drug charge when her father died. When she was released for the memorial service, she said that she thought it was a good excuse to use for the rest of her life, but she ended up becoming clean and sober and becoming a sober coach in Phoenix, of all places. She connected with Todd in the spring at the suggestion of one of his USC teammates, saying maybe you could help him. And she said, I'll help him, all right. I'll help him get that ginger cock right out of his pants again. He says their relationship works because he says, quote, I don't have to explain myself. She gets it. So late 2018, his family is prodding him into going to rehab. Allie says she'll support him, but that she's going to put their romantic relationship on hold until he gets his shit together. Because if you're sober and you're trying to stay sober, you can't be with someone who's doing this. So, she says he meets her halfway between their homes, which is in Palm Desert, if you know, between Phoenix and L.A., leaves his car there, and he goes into hers. They drive to Arizona, where she tells him he's got two options for rehab. One is a 2-week program. It will cost, he says, okay. She says it'll cost $4,000. So he says, never mind. Not doing that. I don't have for it. That's a lot of boats. That's a fuckload of boats. That's a lot.
Is it 1,000? What is that? It's 1,000?
Well, that would be 4. If it was 1,000, it'd be $4. So minus 10.
So it's 100.
It's 100. So anyway, it's
$40.
It's a lot, though.
Still, that's a lot.
A lot of boats. Shitload of boats. Option number 2 was Granite Mountain Behavioral Healthcare in Prescott Valley, which is nice up there. I guess her friend runs it, and he said he'll help cover the cost because he's a USC alum.
And a huge Raider fan.
And a big Raider fan, and also a naked ginger. But this program lasts 60 to 90 days. He says, no, it's too much time to be away from the kids. He says, take me to my car. She says, I'm not taking you to your fucking car. So she takes him to the airport. He goes and checks in, gets a plane ticket, fucking checks his luggage in, and then he decides, never mind. And he calls her up and says, come back and get me. Fucking gets back in the car. Back in the car, gets all his shit back off the plane, everything like that. And, I guess he's a fucking disaster, and, he's a crying, sobbing mess, and she has to help him to rehab, basically. And that's the last we've heard about him. That is late 2018. Probably Prescott, I would imagine, and he's up there. Right now, who the fuck knows? He could be naked in your backyard with a bag of heroin, or he could be stone sober playing on the swings with his kids. No fucking idea. And it could change
tomorrow.
Could change.
Should have already changed. We just haven't heard about it
from
yet.
the show. From the beginning of the show, it could have changed to now. So who knows? Can't get enough of Todd Marinovich.
It's got to be everywhere.
Oh boy, you can follow Todd Marinovich on Twitter. He is at Todd Marinovich.
Really
easy to find. He is following 68 people. He has 3,089 followers.
All right.
Not bad. He has tweeted 590 times. So he does tweet here and there, mostly about his artwork, which you can buy at toddmarinovich.com.
He got that.
He got that, toddmarinovich.com. He has his artwork up there for sale there. You can also go to Amazon, where they have an autographed NFL football here with, the proof of everything. Sure. $119.99 plus free shipping. So $120.
That's steep.
Yeah. Well, an NFL football that itself is $40 there. So, $80 autograph.
Ruining it.
One in stock. So order soon here. And I found his net worth, which we know how reliable those are.
Right.
They say I have millions of dollars, which, good God, I don't. His
they
net
have my comedy clips on it.
Yeah, which is amazing. His net worth, $20,000 is what he's listed at now.
He's got 7 cents.
And that's like a bunch of bicycles, I think, and a skateboard.
Got like 40 boats worth of money.
Yeah, it's plenty of boats, dude. It's plenty. 50 boats he's got. That's like, well, that would be 4,000's 100, so that would be times 500 boats.
Ooh.
It's a lot of boats, bro. Yeah. So that is Todd Marinovich. And the tale, it's just a crazy fucking story, man.
That's the worst one we've ever covered.
It's so disastrous. It's a guy just so back and forth and back and forth. And Did he ever have a chance? No, that's the thing. I don't think he ever had a chance because he never had a chance to develop into a human being of his own making.
They named him Junior.
So, yeah, he just never had it. He never had it. This is what I mean. This is a guy where you want to punch him, but you also want to fucking go, dude, that is miserable. Yeah. I get it.
I'm so sorry.
Like, I look at him the same way as I look at some of our people that grew up, without a floor.
Right.
Like Willie Mays Aikens or something. Like, he had no running water or floor in the house. Like, I look at this kind of the same way. It's like the opposite. Like I said, it's the extreme end of the spectrum the other way, which is just as damaging.
What happens?
Crazy.
I mean, that's what happens, I guess, is the answer. When you have a goal,
force your kid to do something,
right? And that's not their goal.
That's it.
That wasn't his dream.
If it ain't their dream, every once in a while, the kid will just have that thing where that is their fucking dream and their dad's career. Like you got a John Elway.
Right.
John Elway, that's all he wanted to do. That was his dream, was baseball and football, and his dad was a fucking coach and encouraged it, and it worked.
Yeah.
He's not John Elway.
No.
John Elway he still has an unending desire to be around football and draft poorly.
Right.
This fucking guy, he doesn't care. He doesn't want to be around football. He wants to be an artist. That's it. He likes art. He doesn't give a fuck. He said, all I want to do is be an artist.
Jesus.
He told his USC coach that when he was leaving. He was like, I just want to do art. Like, I don't even care about this shit.
Care about money.
So that's interesting. But that is Todd Marinovich. That's a crazy story. And if you like that story, you can tell us all about it by going to iTunes or wherever you listen to your podcasts. If you can rate and review, do it. Give us 5 stars. Tell us you're following instructions, following directions. It doesn't matter because it's not for our ego, really. Can't change that. So, can't change our disastrous views of ourselves. So, we look at ourselves much like Todd Marinovich looks at himself without the heroin. Yeah, self-saboteurs. We just keep our clothes on and are afraid of needles. That's the only fucking difference. So, do that stuff. We appreciate you for doing that. Also, go to shutupandgivememurder.com for all of your small town murder and crime and sports needs. Merchandise up, live shows going to be announced, links to donate there also, and links to follow us on social media. If you want to know about these live shows immediately, follow us on social media, because I'll tell you right now, they're going to be announced on a Monday, and we're not going to have a show till Tuesday, and then a Small Town Murder on Thursday. So if you want to know right then, you can follow us on social media, because it will come out before we have a chance to announce it on the show. So do that there. You could follow us at Crime and Sports on Twitter and Facebook, and it is at Small Town Murder on Instagram, actually, and so you still get crime and sports news there, and do all of that. And also, if you want to become one of our goddamn heroes, one of our most favored people who we fucking love so much, our producers, you could do that very, very easily by going to patreon.com/crimeandsports or heading over to PayPal and using our email address, which is crimeinsports@gmail.com, and you can be one of these fabulous people that we're going to talk about. Let's talk about how much we love them, Jimmy.
Oh,
Jesus Christ, jam it into my arm like a needle full of heroin, Jimmy.
This week's executive producers are Gary Howard and his family, sending all
Gary.
the goddamn time. He's so
Appreciate
nice to
that,
us.
brother. Thank you.
Alexis Seeger, like Bob, Jennifer Deal, Katie McDaniel, Corinne Price, Ryan Borkey, Lisa Lisa Adams, Angela Miller, and Justin Miller. Every week they're
thank you guys so much. Really, we appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah,
Thank you.
It's amazing. amazing.
Romp Fest. I'm not sure what that is. Google it. It may be a festival that you like. I don't know.
Cool. Check it out.
Thank you. Ryan Dempsey, Jordan Bennett in Canada, Candace Kennedy. I forget where she's at. What city is she? I don't know.
Because I've seen her in different places.
Yeah,
Atlanta.
So many times.
But then I don't think she's from Atlanta.
Right. And she was going to be in Nashville, so she's in the South somewhere.
She's in the South. Yeah. She was going to come to Florida. But thank you, Candace.
And then Dave Shenaley. I think that's Shenaley. I hope it is Shenaley.
Shenaley, okay.
That's a pain in the ass to write because I don't know how to spell that. Thomas Smith, Jeremy. There's other other producers this week: Thomas Smith, Jeremy Jennings, Rebecca Doe, Lonnie Hall, Rebecca McDonough, Grant Reynolds, Gina Kudajarov. That's a fucking tough one. I'm getting it.
I think so.
David Withers, Tucker Prater, Ashley Dawn, Jay Linky, Brooks and Paige Carter, Snoopy Noodle. I don't know.
All right.
Yeah. I'll
sure.
take it. Whatever.
Why not?
Ellie Bertoni, Brenda Likovec, John Codling. He's an artist up there in New York. Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Drew Shockley, Nikki Dunn, Liz Vasquez. No, that's a Z. It's Vasquez. But Spanish culture is so tough to pronounce their words sometimes.
It's a little difficult.
Neil Campbell, Kayla Roberts, Ryan Shank, Kimberly Goring, Doug Wilkinson, Luke Evans. It sounds like a country artist. It probably is. Yeah.
He does.
You know, that's a country artist.
Yeah, there was one earlier that sounded like a country singer, too.
There's a lot of them in here. Amber Brown, Tyler Sheets, Joe Heilberg, Lauren Boyd, Larry David, probably not, but it's a
thanks,
guy.
Larry.
Yeah. Jesse Hartman, again, thank you.
Thank you.
Sarah Fox, Audrey Harbottle, Travis De Arment, Pauline Hoyt. No, it's Hot. No, is that a Y? It's a Hoyt. It's definitely Hoyt. Lisa Kay, with no last name. Camille Cummings, Amanda Mitchell, Reagan Shalkley. Doesn't matter.
Thank you
at this.
so
Thank
much.
you. Brendan Abels, Chandler Davis, Karen Warner, Donna Pond or Fond. It's Pond, I think. I think it is. Heather, Kimberly Reba, Jessica Dustin, DeAndre Brinson. I think that's DeAndre. I'm pretty sure that is.
All right. I'll buy that.
Hannah Cooper, Lauren Henkel.
A lot of problems there.
Dylan, that's Dylan. Dylan Harvison, Liz Roberts, Clay Thorson, Pam with no last name, Celicia Waits, Misty Wilkins, Tabitha Dunlap, Riz, first name, they go by Rizzo. You mentioned them before.
Yeah.
And you remembered, and you were right.
Yeah, Riz.
Laura, I don't remember what it was, but she sent something, or he, I don't know.
Yeah.
And they mentioned that you were right.
It's a Grease reference. Yeah.
Laura Souter, Lindsay Bennett, Pamela Rogers, Casey Huffman, AJ Vieira, Barbara Livingston, Chuck with no last name, Dario with no last name, Jeslyn Stalker, Dan Neimer. That's a fucking cool name. That feels
it's not bad.
It's a fun one. Dan Neimer. Neimer. That sounds like a swear word.
It's got the n.
Right.
Yeah, it's nice.
Christina Listland, Loridson. That's a three word name. That's what that is. Christina Listland Loridson. That's what it is.
Okay.
Chris Knowles, probably no relation to Beyonce. Kim LeDuc. That's what that is. That's an L. Luke Holman, Kelly Higby, Silky BH. Is that a silky butthole?
I don't know. Maybe
it could be. Could be somebody fucking with me, or it's Silky, and I'm ruining their poor name. I'm sorry.
It.
Jeremy Parenti, Keisha Davison, Shannon Precup, Julie Schletter, Justin Christie, Jessica Shannon, Caroline Rickles, Stephen Rude, Ann Snow, Academic Genius, Attorney Genital. Okay. Wither?
Very
Whitaker.
nice. Nicely done there.
Academic Genius, Attorney Genital Whitaker. Daryl Donahue, Paul Powell, Janice Hill, Cal, Rachel Jones, Damian Barney. Yes, Damian Barney. Kevin McDonald, Allison Morris, Krista Walker, Lauren Demarath, Stephen Greger, Tyler Gwill, Amy Spicer, Cheyenne Ryder, Rachel Stora, Aaron Clark, Barbara Loser. It's got to be Loser.
It's Loser.
Nobody says
no. I doubt that no one names. No.
Yeah. Hannah Simmons, Juliana Hopper, Cheryl Dodge, Matt Kerr, Alec Ritchie, Ashley Vio, James Lombardo, Gage Simmons, Penny Coleman, Jody DeGarci.
All right.
I don't know.
There you go.
Lana? No, it's Lana. That's what that is. It's Lana. Alan Hopfenfarger.
Nice.
Hopfensperger. That's it. Thank you, guys.
The people who make everything possible. Damn it.
Thank you.
The best people in the world. Thank you so much. We just thank you guys for everything you do. We appreciate the hell out of you guys. And we're trying to do better shows every fucking week. We're really are invigorated by crime and sports lately. And
your appreciation of it
it helps.
Is amazing.
It fuels us.
Right. You don't see very many podcasts with the environmental interaction that you guys have. So thank you for being a part of this.
You guys are awesome. We appreciate it. Jimmie, what if they wanted to get a hold of you and interact? How might they do it?
You can find me at Whisman Sucks, WHISMAN Sucks on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. I'm doing my best to get back to you guys. I have a backlog of things to acknowledge, and acknowledging is my favorite. So I'm trying. Where can they acknowledge you?
You can acknowledge me at Jimmie P is funny, or you can copy and paste my last name from the show description if you don't want to get crazy and try to spell it. So do that. Keep keeping up with us all the time. We have a lot more crazy coming up. Next week's story is fucking weird. Good. And it's a sport that we know shit about. So let's enjoy that because it's going to be a fucking mess. And we have a bunch of, I mentioned a while back that we had like Jim the Anvil and we had Todd Marinovich. We have all that. We have some crazy ones coming up. We have Daryl Strawberry. We have Meta World Peace. We have Kerry Von Erich, the wrestler, which is the whole Von Erich family mess. And we have a bunch of other wrestlers. I don't know if there's enough on Shimura because he got acquitted. I watched the whole trial. He got acquitted. He 100% diddled that girl from based on my opinion in the bathroom. But they just not enough. So they didn't.
I didn't realize he was acquitted.
Yeah, I watched the whole trial. It was terrible. So it's bad. So at Jimmie P is funny. Do all that shit. And with that said, everybody, God damn it. Thank you so much. Live from the Crime and Sports Studios. We will see you next week.
Bye.
If you like crime and sports, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this white Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. We're going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles.
A big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud.
Sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.